Hello, friends. I'm Deeg. This is my podcast. I'm here today chatting with MattVisual. How's it going, Matt?
It's going good. It's going good. Continuation from the long talk that we've had before actually going live.
Yeah, Matt and I, we just obviously can't help ourselves. One of the tricks about being on a podcast, and Matt's been doing this a lot longer than I have, so he knows, is you don't want to squeeze that juicy conversational fruit too dry before you say cut and you start. But sometimes you just can't help it. The chemistry is just there. Anyway,
Yeah.
Matt, it's such a pleasure to get a chance to connect with you, man. I have, of course, known you from being a Guild Wars 2 fan. I came to Guild Wars 2 kind of late, like around the Heart of Thorns era, right in that lead up. I saw some of the content you were doing at that time. You were collaborating with Wooden Potatoes. You had that interview with Colin where you pushed him on Cantha, and now End of Dragons is coming out. Anyway, there's so much shit we can talk about. But one of the things that's always jumped out about you and that I really appreciate is whether you're talking about a game or whether you're talking about some kind of a situation or whatever it is, you always bring a real personal touch. And I feel I get to know Matt. And I just want more of that. So,
all right.
As a starting point, maybe, okay, MattVisual. You started YouTube in 2011. Before that, you obviously loved video games and you had a passion to sort of start with YouTube. Where did it start for you? Where did your passion that you brought to that channel back then come from?
I feel like the passion didn't start until later on. Like, oh man, I actually really like editing and like creating things.
Sure.
Before in the beginning, I was working at GameStop, and I just like they were like laying off people, and I decided to like just kind of. I've always been into I guess games. Oh, are you asking about how did I get into video games in general, or how did I get into YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The deep stuff.
When I was 5 years old, yeah. When I was 5 years old, my mom bought me like Ninja Turtles for Nintendo, and that was it.
Dude,
that was it.
I remember that game.
Yeah, I kept playing. So
jump kick, right?
Yeah, jump kick, over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I ended up getting the Super Nintendo, then the 64, and then the Xbox, the PlayStation 1 with the Final Fantasy 7 demo on it. Mm-hmm. Then I had all the systems. I got the Game Boy when it came out. Like I just didn't stop. It's just one of those things where it was just kind of a part of me at that point. When I first played, I was like, this is fun. I'm going to play this forever, and new things are going to come out, and I'm going to play that. It's never really left me. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did I have such a connection to it? Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know. I guess when you're a kid, video games are video games. It's like having toys, right? It's like, oh, this is better than action figures.
Who brought it into the house? Was it one of your parents, or did you push for it?
Yeah. No, my mom was just surprised me. I was like 5 years old. Yeah, Nintendo. Boom. The neighbor came over and we played. Single mom at the time, and she still got it for me. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice. She really started something there just with that little purchase. Yeah.
Planting a very deep seed.
Yeah. And later on, I started getting into. I always liked MMOs. I mean, I played a lot of RuneScape. Way too much RuneScape.
Respect.
Yeah, way too much. I mean, I would stay up all night clicking those hue trees, just over and over again.
All right.
Over and over again. Yeah, it's I don't know what was so addicting about seeing those little numbers move up, but that was the thing. I saw Guild Wars 2 and I was like, man, this looks different. This reminded me of like when I saw WoW. It's like, wow, like 3D world. Mm-hmm. And the videos always kind of like, they always had this like magic to it. You're like, oh man, Guild Wars 2 might be like the biggest thing to come out in a while. Like it might be like the next WoW and stuff like that. Like in your head, like back in the day, that's what everyone was kind of thinking. and that's why all those videos came out way before it even launched, way before we even played it.
Yeah, like the manifesto. I still go back and watch that, and it gives me chills.
yeah, right. It's like, oh man, what was, like all this hype when hype trains were truly at the top. I mean, nowadays, people the hype kind of dies.
We're all a bit more cynical these days, I think.
Yeah. I mean, cyber, cyberpunk was pretty bad. We were reminded after cyberpunk, like, oh yeah, that's right, we shouldn't get hyped about anything. But yeah, I started making music on my off time.
Cool.
And put those up, and then I started making YouTube videos at this apartment in Atlanta, and I would put different backdrops, and I kept trying to make it different than everyone else.
Okay.
And
different how everyone else?
Like Phonetic had his voice. He had this deep,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what part of the UK he's from. I totally forgot, but he has like this very distinct accent.
Okay.
Then you had like, man, I remember everyone. Snebzor. I remember talking to him a few months ago. Snebzor. We had something Fury. I can't remember. Of course, Potatoes. Everyone knows Win Potatoes.
Absolutely.
Right. And the Total Biscuit of Guild Wars 2. He's gonna hate me for saying that.
Total Biscuit of Guild Wars 2.
That's why I used to. Reddit loved him.
Yeah.
Reddit spammed him. Oh my god! During those days, oh my god, we and him used to have deep talks about just like, it's like Reddit likes you, dude. They don't like me, and we had this whole conversation. But yeah.
What Reddit likes is such a. It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Oh my god. Yeah. But
so you were aware of the scene. Like you were taking it in. You were breathing that shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because YouTube was like relatively new, stuff. I mean, man, I don't know if anyone remembers those profile designs back in the day. I mean, it looked like old school MySpace, like that YouTube used to look so weird. And I remember always learning Photoshop to change the backgrounds and all sorts of stuff, trying to make it cool. Eventually I started to kind of get a taste for it, of just like trying to be creative, trying to be different than everyone else, even being silly, goofy, rapping, doing embarrassing things that I never want to see again. But I really enjoyed doing that stuff. I mean, I made like hundreds of videos of just like random guides that I tried to make entertaining and not boring. Like, hi, welcome to Guild Wars 2. Today we're going to be talking about, how to get your legendary sword. It's no, I need something better. Every time I would see something, I'm like, okay, have a little bit more gusto in it. And not to say my stuff was like great, because it wasn't. It was, it was just like young, early 20s, I think, around that time, just trying to do something different.
The embarrassments of our past are proof of our development, so we should see them fondly, right?
yes. What, I got like 1,000 videos on that YouTube channel now, so probably look back and cringe a bit. It was fun. I learned a lot. I mean, it's the whole reason I even have a job now, is kind of going through how to make myself better at what I was doing.
So what all went into that? Was it mainly like video editing? Like how did you gear up for this in terms of like your knowledge becoming a YouTuber?
Slowly. I just always watched a lot of tutorials on. I used to do everything in Premiere and hated After Effects until now. Now I was forced to, but a few years back. But back then, I was just like always learning how to push the boundaries of Premiere. After I stopped using, what was the first one I started using? Cyber Director.
Oh God!
It was
what is that?
Yeah.
That
It's a
name
video
is a
editing.
very
Yeah.
90s kinda name. Cyber?
Yeah.
You can't use the word cyber anymore.
Everything was like drag and drop type thing.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah. It was like Windows Movie Maker mixed
Yeah,
with
okay.
like, I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It was something. It was something. But I was like, okay, I need to actually like make this slower or faster or like this transition, this like, and then keyframes was like just the natural progression.
Okay.
So yeah. So I just hustled
You just
and
stumbled your way through it,
looked
figuring it out as you
stumbled my
went.
way through it.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
I was like, oh, I want to do this. So how do I make it look right? Like I remember doing something with Tato's with having him because he would never show his face. So
Right.
um I had like a potato on a desk for him. And we are just sharing tips and stuff like that and trying to be stupid.
Uh-huh.
And I had the mohawk at the time. And it had like a Pac-Man shirt. So people would be able to find that through the thumbnail.
I
But yeah,
think
it was just a
I think you showed a clip of that on the very last VisualWood, 'cause I'm pretty sure I watched that, and I'm pretty sure I saw that clip.
oh
So,
wow,
yeah.
did you really watch VisualWood?
I used to watch it
Did
back in the day, man.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
I was one of your lurking fans. I mean, like, I got into Guild Wars 2 in 2015, so I wasn't there for the start of it. I was sad when
Yeah.
y'all called it quits, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
understand, like, creatively, you gotta just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I definitely can confirm the, like, green screened shot that you did of you standing next to a potato.
Yeah. It came out okay for like I didn't have I don't know if I had a green screen then. What I did is got a bunch of poster boards, neon poster boards, and
Okay.
taped, taped them together and put them behind me.
You improvised.
I improvised. Oh yeah, man.
That's
I
beautiful.
mean I had no money back then. I was just like trying to make things work. And I think um you learned a lot when you're just trying to make things work.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
I guess that's why there's a difference between a person who's been doing videos by themselves for years and then someone who went to school for it.
Mm.
You know, like there's a difference in how they like
How they
work
problem
through
solve?
something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
How would you characterize
you know,
that
because you
difference?
okay. How do I say this? So it's something we realize at the agency I work for.
Hmm,
They seem to just have like this knowledge of what things are, like you know, camera rights, and you know, like the certain terms of how to shoot things, and just like just film terminology.
okay.
But in terms of actually applying it, it takes a little bit more time to kind of get them warmed up because
Mm,
they don't have a lot of experience in actually doing the thing. And I think that speaks to like a lot of tools. It doesn't have to be video editing, but
sure,
like it's if you have more experience actually doing the thing, you're more likely to be able to think in outside of the box when something is happening, you
sure,
know, which kind of
sure.
definitely helped me a lot.
Okay, yeah, so it
I say
sounds like
I would call it the YouTube special when we have to do something really fast and cheap. Get you the YouTube special. Yeah.
I love that. Actually, I really identify with that. I was a
Yeah.
horrible student. In fact, I'm a college dropout. I
Yeah.
figured it out afterwards, finally and thankfully. But it sounds like what you're describing is, a school-educated video editor, which is what you do now, right? You're a video editor when you're not on
Yeah.
screen talking about video games or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Comes through that with a sort of a baseline comfort with what the status quo is for how things are done within that
Mhm.
field. But it's not necessarily tempered by experience, whereas someone who's a YouTuber, someone who's kind of figuring out for themselves what you would call in generic terms like an autodidact, someone who kind of teaches themselves based on their own interests. Um,
Yeah.
doesn't have the comfort of that structural understanding, but has the real world, let's get shit done ability and knowledge
Yeah.
and self confidence, and that's worth
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, because I didn't I dropped out of college as well.
Hell
So
yeah.
I had a
College dropouts. Let's
so
go.
college dropouts. So I had to make it work.
All
I had
right.
to make it work. Yeah, man. I've had plenty of jobs before this one. Because it's kind of hard to kind of pay bills with something you like doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
what were you doing? What were you doing when you were making all this Guild Wars 2 stuff for YouTube at the start? Were you a student? What were you doing?
um I would do like little side gigs, and then when that wasn't working, I started working at Micro Center.
Okay.
Micro
Okay.
Center,
Retail.
yeah. Retail. Yeah, I've had a few jobs. And mostly sales jobs. Mostly sales jobs, but I had little Caesars back in the day as well.
Aye.
But
Aye.
like Micro Center was one of those, I already spent a lot of money on computer parts,
Mhm.
so it kind of made sense. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I grew up building things, might as well, if there's a job to actually deal with like customers and all this type of stuff, and corporate.
Sounds like you loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I loved certain aspects of. I mean, I was lucky to have good people around, but the managers were not. I would say some of the managers were not great. Was not great. Those types of those people who just think the world revolves around them and they can ask you to do anything and you will just jump. And I have a problem with that.
Yeah,
To the
kind
point
of.
that I've gotten in the face of many managers.
Nice.
I got no, that's is necessarily nice. I got written up once, almost twice, because a guy was mistreating other people that were working there, and I was
Oh,
just like, nah, buddy, nah, this is not how it works.
that's
But
infuriating. Good
because
for you, dude. It ain't easy to do that.
because because I sell, because I make good sales, they're kind of okay with me speaking out, like, and it's just
Mm.
like that just is a messed up just world we live in. I was like, okay, well, I guess if I make you money, it doesn't matter. And nothing changed either. Me
Mhm.
speaking up doesn't change anything. And it's whatever. I left them a nice letter before I left for California. A nice letter about a certain manager at Micro Center. And he still works there. So I would say, don't follow me, kids. Keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and take your money and go home.
Well, there's certainly a time and a place, right?
Yeah, there's certainly time and place. Yeah.
Certainly a time and a place. If you can't afford to not be employed, it kind of guides you in a certain way, right? Unless you're just one of those
Yeah.
types that just has to speak out.
Yeah. I speak out way too much. And that's why I have
Really?
to work for myself. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people are just jackasses and you just kind
Mhm.
of have to be like, yo,
Gotta get in their
there's a
face.
line. There's a line. There's a line here. Yeah, I know. The person they were messing with had a wife and kids, so
Mhm.
he couldn't speak out, but
Mm.
I can.
So
But
be
yeah,
so you were in a less vulnerable spot, and also you had a little
yes,
bit more street cred because you were successful at what you were
yes,
doing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I did that. I did some sales for for Play Fusion when I came to California at first,
Mhm.
which does Warhammer and
Oh.
Lightseekers. Yeah, so I would go to like all of the geeky shops around
Uh-huh.
that sold cards
Yeah,
and
yeah.
full sets and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of them in California.
Hmm.
And I got to meet people. I did some Dungeons and Dragons
That's cool.
meetups with a few people there, and I was like, man, this this is great.
Legit.
This is great. Yeah. It was legit. Yeah, I was like, man, it made me really like California. It's just too expensive there, which
Mm,
is why I moved to Texas
word,
recently.
word.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're talking.
when
Yeah.
you were in California, were you still making it as a go as a YouTuber? I know your last YouTube video was like almost 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, I stopped. Right after there was this video I made when I got a divorce. And I would
Yeah.
say like the divorce is kind of the reason why like I didn't have that drive. It
Mm,
kind of like a lot of what happened like drained me
yeah.
mentally and emotionally. You know, that like
Yeah.
I wanted to edit. So I did edit. But I left it alone after I finished it and
Mm,
never showed anyone. I showed Super Bunny Hop at a
mhm.
time because me and him used to live close,
Okay.
and he was like, "Wow, this is great! Like you should show it." So I wanted to finish it. So when I flew over to California, I did a couple ending shots,
Mm,
and that's the last video, the break video.
yeah.
That's what I put out, and I was like, "All right, I'll just put it out there for anyone who's who felt the same feeling I had."
Yeah.
And left it without words and stuff, and just kind of let it be open to interpretation, I
That was
guess.
a beautiful piece, man. That video.
I
Um,
appreciate it. Yeah.
it really jumped out at me. One of the comments from that video, I remember when I was watching it, someone said that I think it's like a 4 or 5 minute video. Like it's not super long, but
Yeah.
when they got done finishing, they felt like it had been a long video. Like it had somehow been a long trip
Yeah.
from the first second all the way to the end. And I had that same sense of it too. I wrote down at the end of that video, you played, I think it was the intro from the Whiplash drum solo, that ta ta
It's
ta 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 ta
yeah,
ta, that
yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah.
and you listed a bunch of words: break, breakable, breakup, breakdown, heartbreak, break free, breakthrough, unbreakable.
Yeah. And like I when I put that out there, I was like, I didn't want to give the wrong image of like like being unbreakable. Like that's you're not going to be unbreakable. You know, like it's more like you've gone through shit and you're better for it.
Yeah.
You've learned from the experience. Self-reflect, you
Mhm.
know, and you probably won't be breakable in the same way, you know. But yeah. But it seemed like most people got like the right idea from it. I didn't want to make it seem like,
Oh, you did.
you know,
And
yeah.
and in fact, me asking you to kind of elaborate on it, in some sense, does it an injustice because I think it stands up, and it
Yeah.
paints a picture. But, and it tells that little sequence of words, tells a little like a montage fashion almost of something happened. It
Mhm.
had an effect on me. I was hurt. I was down, but then I passed through it. I learned something, and I was stronger for it.
Yeah.
That's like the
Exactly.
human story, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, is going out, confronting the world, finding the things that hurt us, getting hurt, and then getting stronger as a result.
Yeah.
I think when I first saw that video was the first time I thought, okay, when I put MattVisual in the back of my brain to be like, okay, this is a person I eventually want to somehow connect with.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh
been in
yeah.
the back of my mind all this time. So such a thrill. But look, um, we actually skipped a few things getting to
Okay.
this point that I want to ask you about. I think they'll be kind of fun.
Okay.
I think they'll be kind of fun. So I want to rewind a little bit more back to Matt is doing Guild Wars 2 content and kind of passing through because you notice if you look at your channel history that yeah,
Mhm.
you have the music at the start, a whole bunch of Guild Wars 2, and then at some point VisualWood came in, and then at some point it went from being more Guild Wars focused to being more variety focused. I wonder if you
Yeah.
could describe to me, well, maybe how did your let's start with Wooden Potatoes and your collaboration with him. Can I ask you about how that came about?
I okay, so at the time, I mean, we watched everyone. Well, at least I did. I
Uh-huh.
watched everyone, and I talked to everyone I could at the time. I mean, back in the day, like that's just kind of what you did. You all the YouTubers people talk to each other, and
Sure.
plus you met them at these things that ArenaNet would have,
Mhm.
these little get-togethers,
Cool.
if they were in the United States. But and when potatoes, I can't remember how I got his Skype. I can't remember how that came about. I think he might have messaged me on about something random,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hey, why don't we do something?" And he was just kind of like on the fence for a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's try it."
Okay.
And yeah, and we were trying to think of what would work, and I think we did some like the VisualWood plays. I mean, we called it like other things,
Uh-huh.
but it's basically me and him playing a game,
Yeah, you
and
like
we
Let's
just
Play
had
co-op.
great chemistry. We
Yeah.
just like great chemistry. I was like, whoa, he's the best chemistry I've ever had, and still to this day ever had
Uh.
on someone on YouTube. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Uh-huh.
and we could just like turn it on and start talking about random stuff, and he would
Mhm.
go with me and I would go with him with whatever rabbit hole, so we would end up talking about bullshit
Uh.
most of the time. But yeah, and we'll talk about other stuff while we're doing video games or stuff like that. So like it just we did a test episode, and then we did a real episode of VisualWood,
Mhm.
um and then we came up with the name, I think, in that first few seconds.
I
Like
think I think I
many,
heard this interaction. I think y'all had there was a
it's the
different
first
name you were
episode.
starting with. I can't remember, something like generic sounding, like Let's Play name. And then some
Yeah,
one of you guys joked about VisualWood.
yeah.
And then yeah,
Visual
of course, that just ran away with it.
people loved it, and
How could it not?
how could it not be? Yeah, rolls off the tongue,
That's one way
amongst
to put
other
it.
things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, but yeah. Me and him, we got together and so we did a bunch of stuff, you know, a bunch of games, a bunch of longer games. We tried
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
But, you know, classic YouTube fashion, you know, it wasn't like erupting or anything like
Right.
that. During that time, I remember it was like Northern Lion that was doing stuff and all those types of guys at the time
Mhm.
doing Binding of Isaac and stuff. And there's
Right.
like, this was during a time where Markiplier was starting to get big, like a little bit before that, I think. Um, and just to paint a picture, and it just wasn't working. British guy, black guy, just wasn't like nobody was just like, yeah, let's watch the new, you know, the two best friends or whatever, where the hell.
Mhm.
It just wasn't. It wasn't working for
It
people,
wasn't
or
growing
we
the way
just
you hoped
didn't
it
put
would.
enough time. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, because it was like the same viewership each time.
Right.
So
Right.
at some point, and he had a very like he was very scheduled in what he did during the day, to keep it active and always have a video going out because he did everything. He did patch notes, lore, and
Prolific wood and
he was
potatoes. Absolutely.
yeah he was on top of everything, and all Guild Wars 2. I mean, you see his account. He earned all that, you know.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. Eventually, we just like, hey, I guess it's just not working, you know. Um, and we decided I wanted to do different things. I was going to continue to do different things because I remember around the time I started talking to him, I was like, yo, I don't. I feel like it's kind of dumb to stick with one game because everything is tied to that one game,
Right.
you know? Like as soon as if that game fails or the company does something stupid or whatever, it's done. And people don't watch you for, you know, like I'm talking about like us, you know, in general, like, you know, during that time, variety was out of like what? No, I come to Swifty to watch WoW and nothing else. I come to whatever. Yeah, like during that time, that was like the thing. Nowadays, shit, you can play whatever the fuck you want. Like it's, I mean, people still get a little weird, but it's not the same. Like, if a shooter guy is playing a shooter and the next big shooter comes out and he jumps on it, it's fine.
It's easy. Yeah.
It's not this. Yeah, it's not the same as MMOs. Like you're pigeonholed. You're in. You're in.
I think that's definitely true. I interviewed a dude named Enders. He's a Battlefield streamer, and he talked about this about
World of Enders.
Not World of Enders. That's AKA Boots. That's someone totally different.
Right.
Yeah. You know him. I know him.
Yeah.
No, he's like a hardcore shooter dude. He plays Battlefield. He talked about this problem. His perspective on it is you can't is that he felt it was not smart to go variety until you had until you were at a certain size, that it was worth the risk of losing the people who were just there to see you play the game, right? The game that they liked, and weren't there so much for you, the personality. But I think that what you said about the kind of YouTube meta evolving, it's more personality based than ever, it seems.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nowadays, yeah. I must have been too early for my time.
Maybe.
But yeah, like maybe. Or I just stopped, which is my problem. But yeah, like I feel though, I mean, in retrospect, I think you should just do what the fuck you want to do. And because like the more stuff you try, the more chances you have for things sticking into the wall. And that's if you're like trying to grow a channel and trying to do all this stuff. It was fun. And Guild Wars 2 videos stopped being fun.
Yeah.
So I started doing other things that was fun. Like that's what when it turns into a job, I'm just like, what? No. No, I don't want to force myself to play a game. And it's not that Guild Wars 2 was bad, because it's not. Far from it, but like it's just playing the same thing over and over again. I am not a creature of habit. I constantly change. I move too much. I do yeah. Guild Wars 2 is probably the longest I've spent on anything. So yeah. So I started doing other stuff. I started like reviewing games, and the first review was like I was trying to find myself. Like if you like watch one of those, it's like way different than like one of my last pieces, which is like Metal Gear and Resident Evil and stuff like that. Like they sound completely different.
Sure.
When before I was doing like these whole like gimmicks and like me doing wacky animations and stuff like that, I just ended up just being myself and just turning on the camera and improvising stuff sometimes. And then with that, I edited around my improvisation, with like the script that I had. And I ended up really enjoying that. I actually ended up really enjoying. So that's kind of how I got into branching out, dipping my toes into other waters other than Guild Wars 2.
I think you did a smart thing, man. I think there's something horrifying about staying creatively rooted for fear of losing something, losing the results, right? The views, the subs, whatever it may be.
There's a lot of videos that would have made me sad if I didn't make, because I was forcing myself to do Guild Wars 2. There's a lot of videos that came out. I was like, man, I'm glad I got a chance to do something like that. I'm glad I had a chance to try that out. Like the whole Japan trip videos, like that was wild. Like I went there, recorded a bunch of stuff, have a terabyte of footage, 4K and everything, and I had to like build a computer around it so I can just edit it properly.
Holy shit.
Had them all in NVMEs, just trying to chug through that footage and make it cohesive.
Yeah.
And it's ended up all right. Ended up all right. Probably the best I could do at the time, and I'm proud. That really taught me a lot of skills that I still use. Just
I
like forcing
love
yourself to do these things. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I love those videos. All of them, all 4 of them that you did about the Japan trip.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. I try. Yeah. I try to mix it in. Try to mix it in. Make them
So
all different in some way.
okay, okay. I have a few questions about those videos, if I may.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, cool. Actually, I'm gonna lead into it. Um,
Oh, we're gonna get deep. Okay. All right.
we'll see, we'll see. Uh, before the Japan videos, you did a video called End of 2016, and in that video, you talked about some changes going on in your life. One of them is a change in your medical world that allowed you to do things you never could before. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah.
All
Bring
right.
it. Yeah. All right.
Periodic
So
paralysis sounds fucking terrible.
it's terrible. It's terrible for sure. I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it. I'm better now, but let me tell you, man, growing up was kind of shit. So
Yeah.
there's this, it's like a genetic disease that runs in the family. And somehow I got some crazy mutation
Ugh.
that made it the worst. Where I would like just growing up, I would wake up paralyzed from the neck down. So I would be able to like move my eyes and a little bit of my neck. It would be kind of stiff, but I wouldn't be able to actually move anything else.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. So that would happen continually for years until I just got fed up. You know, even put like stress on like the marriage.
Mhm.
You know, like because it started happening like it started to get bad like
Mm.
around in my 20s, and I started to figure out a way to lose weight. So I was trying every single thing under the sun to try to get my body to respond like normal and not just have attacks every like week, it would
Mm.
seem.
Mm.
You know, and it's not just the attacks would last days. So basically I was just perpetually just weak all the time.
Okay.
So I would lose the sensation of how it felt to run upstairs.
Huh.
So yeah, like, and I couldn't lift, I couldn't do anything.
So it wasn't just the actual, like, attack when you were actually
Mhm.
but the lingering effects of feeling weak, just
Yeah,
like,
the fallout, yeah. So
okay.
I would just always be constantly at like 60, 70% of strength.
Okay.
And then sometimes just weaker than that. So the first order of business was an elimination diet. And through
Mhm.
the elimination, I'm basically just eliminating everything and seeing what triggers their attack. Because you know, I look up online and there's like different forms of this stuff of
Mhm.
periodic paralysis. So they'll be like, oh, if you eat too much carbs, if it's too cold, if you sit down too long, blah blah blah. Like they just have all these long lists of stuff like that. You have an attack and you're not gonna be able to move. It's like playing a video game on hard mode, you know? And so I I started
Just trying
the
shit.
elimination diet, trying shit, lost a bunch of weight. I used to be at my biggest, I was like over 300,
Mhm.
300 something pounds. And then I lost a bunch of the weight. Um, and so I was like really thin, but I would still get these attacks.
Okay.
It was just easier to be moved because I was significantly lighter. So, okay, something's not up, right? So I still need some. I would get close, like being vegan, I was close. Like I would have
Mm.
less attacks, but it was still kind of there. Then I started going to visit neurologists, and I had to find one. Finally, a doctor that actually would take me seriously because it's a rare genetic disease.
Mm.
No one knows this stuff. They just think I'm lying or something, or trying to get like I don't know,
Hmm.
like
What's the word for someone who makes up maladies?
unemployment.
Uh, I can't think of the word. Anyway,
I don't
I know
know.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And eventually found someone, and they even had like the old doctor. It was like Grady. It was a Grady Hospital back in Georgia, and they finally took me seriously, a neurologist, and like they had this old neurologist come by, and like, I've only seen one other person with that same periodic paralysis of all my years of being here in this hospital. I was
You had to
like,
get grandpa out of
Jesus.
retirement to help you out. Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. So he started me off with extazolamide, and it's like there's no official medication for periodic paralysis because it's that rare. It's like one of out of every 250,000 or something like
Wow.
that.
Okay.
Um,
And it seems like it varies.
so
Like not everyone has it as badly as you do.
yeah, exactly, and it helped. But what really kicked it into gear is a traveling doctor. She came in. My other doctor was like, "Yo, she knows about this, something of your case," because he would like actually like ask people about my case. Like he actually cared,
Like he was
and
actually trying
it's
to get an
some,
answer. It's so
yeah,
fucked that
yeah.
you have to say that, man. Like it's so fucked that like
Exactly. Exactly. Because some doctors just kind of just collect that check. I'm not saying all doctors do, but my gosh, to find the good ones, man, you know when you find a good one, they like ask you stuff. They like look in your eyes. You know, they
mhm,
actually pay attention. I'm like, oh,
mhm.
okay, damn.
Yeah.
Shit, take me out to dinner first. Like, I was like, this is great. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. So she came in, she gave me another pill. So I take 2 medications,
Alright.
and with it for some reason blocks the certain mutation that I have, or something, like blocks
Huh.
this genetic thing. I don't know. It worked to the point that I still get mild, like little numbness,
Mhm.
but not when I'm constantly exercising, constantly lifting, and I'm eating properly. If I'm just stuffing pizza and chocolate all day, then I'm guaranteed tomorrow morning I'm not going to be bedridden, but I will be slower.
It'll suck.
You know, it would suck. It would suck. So
Huh.
yeah, I just keep that routine. So I have to keep healthy. So I'm
Well,
like
there's an
kind of forced
incentive,
to.
man. Shit.
It's a crazy incentive. Yeah, yeah. So like, I don't even drink juice anymore. I'm just like drinking this like I love this thing, but
What is
it's
it?
just water. It's called Spindrift, and it's like, what do you call those sparkling waters?
Like a
Like
Perrier
Perrier,
or
yeah,
yeah, Pellegrino?
or yeah, all of those, Waterloo, all of
Sure.
them. But this one has like real fruit in it, but still doesn't have like a bunch of like
So it
sugar
has a
and
little bit of
stuff.
a flavor to it.
Has
Something kinda light.
actual flavor, not that like there's just like oily like waterness that you get with a lot of those like Waterloo and all that. Like you
Okay,
get like a slight headache sometimes. You're like, oh man, I gotta actually drink real water. Oh my god, yeah. Like this one, you don't really get that. This one's just it's just fresh. It's like
cool.
water mixed with a little bit of lemon and some bubbles.
So you
But
found
yeah,
something that
but yeah,
worked for you.
I did, I did,
How did
and
that
now I
change
can
your
actually
life?
live a normal life. Oh, it drastically changed it. I I felt like I started life when that happened.
Huh.
I started going to the gym immediately and started it was weird. It's like being normal for the first time. Well, I mean, close to normal for the first time in my life.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was normal enough. Like I can't just go out there and eat and drink like everybody else, but like
But you can be out in
it's
the world and you could
I
travel.
can still I can travel by myself and I have to worry about like, oh no, what's gonna happen to me? But yeah, I got real good.
And
And I was
within
already getting a handle on it. Yeah.
that's cool. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. I was getting a handle of it, and that just kind of like nailed it in. So yeah. So I'm living
That's
life to the fullest.
that
I
is
guess.
great, and that
Yeah.
when you first talked about that I saw it was in that end of 2016 video. You also had
Mm.
that great little sequence about losing your friend losing his drone on the island or whatever.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh my God. I love that video. I love that video.
He's afraid of the ducks and
Yeah. Yeah. He swam to it. Oh my god. And we had
Yeah.
that like there was this like white guy that was like a little bit scared, but he was like so interested in our Phantom drone. We had like the older model. He just got the Mavic one, and
Okay.
he was like, "Hey," it's like, "Oh, here it is," and we were like, "Oh, can we fly?" And he was like, "No, no." It was such a weird thing, and then yeah, like at the time they were probably like 1,300. And
Right.
it's so funny that that happened because it hit the tree. It hit the tree and went down.
Didn't
He's
he
like,
say in
"Well,
the
I'm
video that was
glad
the
I didn't
second
let
one?
you."
That was the second one he lost?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no. But
okay.
the guy that was in the video, he want Aaron, what my friend wanted to
Yeah.
fly it, so he's probably happy that he didn't fly it because he probably because he hit his drone into the water.
Right.
Aaron's drone, yeah, yeah. So yeah, he left right after that. But yeah, we swam to it. He couldn't find it,
Yeah.
and we met some people inside this place. I didn't show it in the video, but they were like super. They were weird too.
Mm.
Just they're like, oh, like trying to. I don't know. Like it's just like a weird. You get that sense where it's just like, why are you helping us? You're not
Hmm.
with this park. Yeah, it's like weird. Yeah, it
Like
was
people
very.
just
I
kind of
don't
out
know.
in the world and like why are they present to you and like when you're just
Yeah,
going out to
yeah.
do
They
this
were like,
thing like
yeah. They asked for our numbers, and I'm just like, I don't know. And then
yeah.
right after that, that guy comes up to us singing, singing his little thing with his
Right.
hands.
Right.
It was such a weird day. It
The
was
guy
such
from
a weird
Cairo,
day.
if I remember right.
Yes, yes. That
Yeah. So that was a
that was a
great video. Within like I don't know,
yeah.
it's like it was not quite a year. You put out the
Mhm,
Japan trip, the first
mhm,
of those 4 videos, and I guess the trip had
mhm.
happened some months earlier or whatever. That
Yeah.
Japan trip seemed like a really important moment almost. Um, it
It
was
was.
you getting out into the world, going out on a big trip. You had all this gear. You clearly put an enormous amount of effort into recording and documenting what you did and making these beautiful videos. Um, and there's just a few things from it that I wanted to ask about, but maybe before I do, can you just describe like why did you decide to do this? First to go to Japan and second to document it like this.
Uh yeah, I realized okay, so I grew up in like a Christian home,
All right.
and I was taught when I was young that life is just you find someone that likes you, you get married, you have kids,
Mhm.
you work a job you probably won't like, and you go to church every Sunday. Like that's life.
Sounds about right.
That's the dream. That's the American dream.
Mhm.
And as I the first wake up call I had was Georgia, and I was like, "Oh my god, like I didn't even know racism existed until I moved to Georgia. Like I didn't even know like in Miami, you had everybody. Everybody
Uh-huh.
was there.
Uh-huh.
Haitians, Hispanics, like it's everybody.
Uh-huh.
And you go out, you go over here and Georgia's just white and black. And
Yeah.
there's some weirdness that happens. And my bubble started to burst. I was just like, okay, like there's more to the world than meets the eye. And slowly that changed. Because I would question things. I would question things about church. I would question things, but I never really like really started to change who I was and like, okay, like maybe the stuff that I've thought about is wrong.
Mhm.
Um, and I wanted to see more of the world because this world does not revolve around um, my 2 states that I visited, that one time. And then I started my uncle took me up to New York. I traveled to North Carolina, like saw people there. Like I started to kind of get an idea of like, wow, every place is different. Every place has like their own thing.
Yeah.
When I wanted to do my first travel, and it happened to be Japan. Super Bunny Hop wanted to go to Japan. I went there and met one of my greatest friends, Patrick, Finland Patrick, that I still talk talk to this day.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you meet that online friend that's just like perfect.
Okay,
It's
okay.
like perfect online friend. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You've seen the video, so he's in there.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
describe him as Patrick the Finn God.
the Finn, the Finn God, and I told him he was my favorite at the end. Yeah. But yeah, I learned just like, man, there's so much out here. Like the way Japanese society is, and this is just a guy first going there. You know, I know that like living there is a little bit different, as like a
Sure.
lot of people explain to me now. But like being there, the way how people act, the way how the US is compared to Japan, like not have I still can't get over that they don't have railings to block you from jumping over I guess like the thing that counts your ticket to go inside of like the train.
Oh, it's like a
You can
turnstile.
just walk. Yeah, you can just walk right through it.
Yeah.
You know, in New York, they have these bars that you feel like you're in jail and you have to go through.
Uh-huh.
And everywhere, they just have a way for you to get blocked.
Mhm.
Here, you can just walk through. It doesn't even have a guard. And when it comes up, comes up really slow, so you can literally just walk through. It's like, man,
And everyone's cool with it.
it's
Everyone just goes through the
just
people don't
yeah.
jump it.
People don't jump it. When if you were to put that here, people jump it every day. Every
Yeah.
day, you could just sit there and for 10 minutes and see someone jump it. Like there's no way people wouldn't jump it.
Mm.
But and it's like everyone picks up after themselves, stuff like that. It's just all these little things add up to this like, you know, the world that I thought I lived in, you know, there's more to it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely start traveling next year again. I know COVID happened and kind of shut everything down, but
Yeah.
eventually things will start opening up again, and then I'm gonna actually start going to different places again because
Mhm.
I need to even visit Jamaica, and I'm Jamaican, and I haven't been in Jamaica yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, my mom is gonna disown me at some point if I
If you
don't
don't
do
get
that.
out there.
Yeah, if I don't do out there. But yeah, that's what pushed me. That's what pushed me to kind of explore, and I still want to explore. Just when I was going to, things happened. But yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. So a sense that there's a bigger world out there,
mhm.
and that you not only want to but can get out there and see it. Get out there
Yeah,
and be a part of it. Has anything changed for you now that you've well, first off, I recommend anyone who hasn't seen these Japan videos, watch them. They're a joy to watch. Um, a great way to start to get to know Matt, of course. Um, so at the end of the fourth video, you did this
yeah,
short little section at the end, um,
yeah,
where you kind of wrapped it up, man. You said you wanted it to be a living, breathing thing, which I think you succeeded in. And not just be another Japan blog, you wanted to give it your own spin,
yeah,
true to form,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that you never thought something like that would have been possible for you. And you ended it by saying, "For future Matt, do not let this be the last place you visit. I'm
yeah.
absolutely gonna do it again. I miss it
And it
already."
haunts me every time. I need to go again, and I need to film it again. It will be different, obviously, because I'm changed. They definitely have changed now, and ever since then, like I've moved around.
Mhm,
You know, like Texas is the new adventure. You know, and I bounced around when I was in California trying to find different places, different people. I met so many people
mhm.
that I still talk to now and had so many opportunities because I made the risk to like, you know, sell my stuff and just drive across the US for something new.
Mhm.
You know, I took that. I couldn't travel outside of the US, but I traveled a lot in here in pursuit of like actually being able to be financially able to actually move and visit some of these places.
Yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, it was a huge turning point because it was like at the time. All right, we're gonna get deep here. At the time, the whole thing with the ex-wife was kind of going down.
Yeah.
And we had to make a choice. Do you want to come with me or not? She wanted to go, and I didn't want her to hate me. Like, for like, oh, I don't want you to go because we're going to we're probably gonna split
So you had already
after
gone
this.
pretty far down the road of, hey, this is probably gonna
Yeah.
end at that
Yeah, this
point.
wasn't like some fast thing. I'm like, oh, bye. Like it
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
conversations, and then as the conversation, it went it went down the toilet after a few conversations at the end. But as it always does. But well,
That's too
not
bad.
always. But yeah,
It's a
like
hard
it's.
thing, dude. It's a hard thing.
But we both had a good time, and
My favorite moments of the two of you in those vlogs was the karaoke.
yeah. See, yeah, we ended up having a good time. Yeah. Man, karaoke. That was like, I don't think have done karaoke again after those those went. I have to do that again.
Karaoke's
I
a
really do
beautiful
have to do
thing.
it again. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Just
I
enough drinks in you, and you could kind of hit some high notes.
absolutely. Yeah, I grew up a choir boy. My mama was a choir director in the church, so I have an
Ah.
outsized amount of confidence when it comes to karaoke, far exceeding my skills, you understand. And one of the clips from the vlog, you did my all-time favorite karaoke song, Aerosmith, "Don't Wanna Miss a Thing."
Oh shoot! Yeah.
Don't wanna
My
close
God.
my eyes.
My eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember a lot of those songs from Rock Band.
Yeah.
I kid you
Word.
not.
Word.
Before I really got into rock after the fact, I really had to step up my music after that. I was just like, man. And I love music, but I felt like my love for music really happened after the fact. I
Huh.
think that, like, you were asking about, like, have I changed since then? And
Yeah.
drastically. Yeah.
Really?
I feel like
Drastically.
every year I feel like I would want to be a better version after every year. Like
Mhm.
looking back and be like, okay, how did I this
Mm.
year? Like I learned from my mistakes, from this or that and how to do this. And, I would hope so, to eventually become, wise, when I get significantly older, if I even have kids, so I can kind of like share my experience and
Mm.
hopefully the legacy lives on of just the Dawkins legacy. I don't know. I don't know if my family even has that, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like
Sounds like you wanna leave your mark.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about like leaving the mark of in terms of like, oh yeah, I did this great thing,
Well,
you
children are the
know.
ultimate act of creation, man.
True. True. I've been thinking like I don't know if I want to have kids.
Yeah.
Do you want to have kids?
I am gonna be 40 in a couple years.
Yeah.
Uh,
Still
I've
time.
been married for almost a decade.
Oh.
We don't have kids.
So
I don't think it's gonna happen for us. I don't think that's our path.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just,
Yeah.
just. I mean, I think about that a lot, and like, okay, like you could spend an unlimited amount of time with the person
Mhm.
that you love, and hopefully that's, you're not staying with each other for. I mean, this shouldn't be a conversation, but you're not staying for reasons like, I have kids with this man or blah 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 or whatever like that.
Right.
It's just strictly just you enjoy each other's company and you want to share the rest of your life being partners in crime. I that deep connection there.
Mhm.
Yeah, like kids just get in the way. I
Kids
say that even though my best friend got married and had his own kid, and and he's just like a slave now, and I'm just like, oh man, so this is how it feels to be like the single guy looking at his best friend married and talking shit on the side.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, you got kids, you can't come out with me tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
But
mean, maybe that's just the story us childless folks tell ourselves, you know?
true. So supposedly when you have it, like it changes everything. And all of a
Right.
sudden, like a door opens in your mind and you're all of a sudden just a greater person because of you have a kid now.
Yeah, well, not all parents become better people, that's for sure.
Yes.
But
Definitely
it
not.
seems like there's something
Definitely.
really important about it. I think you're right. Um,
Yeah.
it's, abiding within the world and kind of being with people. It's not something that lives in your mind, and life is meant to be lived out in the world.
Mm.
Having contact with what's real, what's out there, and there's something about having children that is kind of a peak contact with what the world is and what it's about. I think it's kind of hard to duplicate. I think.
Yeah.
It is an enormous commitment, and maybe it's not probably not for everyone. I don't know. I don't know how my parents dealt with having me and my 3 siblings going at the same time. 4 seems like a lot to me. I honestly have no idea how they did it. Uh,
Yeah.
and I in my late 30s, I am just starting to figure out. I don't know how it is for you, man. But I'm just starting to figure
Mm.
out like who the hell I am for the first time. I feel like
Mm.
what I'm supposed to be doing here on Earth. Like what's the point? If you'd asked me this
Th-
question 5 years ago, I would have said probably just to go to work and play video games because that's all
Yeah.
I'd really figured out. And I made it
Yeah.
work with my wife, and we loved each other.
Yeah.
What was I adding to the world? What was I creating? And this podcast is like one kind of
Yeah.
expression of what I think I'm supposed to be doing. Um, but
I
it
feel
ain't
that.
easy.
I feel that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. Yeah. Man, 30s is the new 20. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
this is when it's time to figure this stuff
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Millennials, we fucked up all our 20s and did a bunch of stupid stuff
It's true, man.
because we're doing yeah, and then I mean now the Zoomers and I don't know all these names
Who knows
for
what
the younger
Zoomers think?
generation.
They're a mystery to
Yeah,
me.
they're like way yeah, they got things now that we did not have back
Growing up
then
with social
at
media,
all.
like, from a very young age is something I find it hard to imagine.
It
It's gotta change your brain.
changed people. Yeah, it changes people, man.
Yeah.
It's like dating. Dating is become a little weird, and sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I should date someone older than me. Like, I was just
Mm.
like, they're not older. Well, not too much older, but like, just I don't. I know a lot of guys, older guys, tend to go for the younger people,
Sure.
but like, I'm like, man, no, no, because I feel like when you grow up with social media, guys too, it's not just like women. They're just different. They they are like there's so many fish in a pond type view where it's like
Mhm.
everything is the microwave generation, and you go on these apps and they get you addicted to kind of swiping on looks, and then
Mhm.
you just pick one out of the litter and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go on a date with him and her and blah blah blah. And I
Yeah.
don't know, it you're more reluctant to work things out with someone when it's definitely workable. Um, I think the younger generation would not work out. They would just go to another person to because they
Yeah.
always think the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah. I was talking to
You
a buddy
know?
of mine. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. He works as a news producer. He's way too fucking busy. And, he, I think that what we're talking about his dating life. Like, he's just dating girls and dealing with stuff and heartbreak and, all the good human stuff and not so
Yeah.
good. And the reality that kinda surfaced is, like, you need to put a lot of time into someone to know if you should put a lot of time into someone.
Yep. Yep. Eh, it's the apps that got us into this thing. Yeah.
Think so?
Like,
You think it's all a technology problem?
I don't know if it's all technology, but people are more reluctant to walk up to somebody and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, how you doing? Let's go on a date." And because things are weird now, and COVID and all this type of stuff. There's so many things change
Yeah. Even without
over
COVID, but
time.
it seems like COVID really
Yeah.
intensified all these
Oh,
these kind of
really?
parts
Yeah.
of the way that we interact with technology that seems like they're bringing us together, but actually kind of pull us apart more than
Hmm.
don't once have.
Anything out?
Like,
Yeah.
um, the idea of having so much opportunity from being connected, not to just people you, I don't know, go to work with and see on the bus,
Yeah.
but everyone who's on this app who can download it from anywhere in the world. And hell, I met my wife online. Like, we were on
Oh, really?
OkCupid, and actually,
Whoa. Okay, Cupid. Oh
yeah,
shit.
brother, old
Okay.
school. Yeah, we
Wow.
it's quite a story and a little bit of a long one. I'll try to keep it brief, but essentially, I was going through my own kind of awakening like a decade and some change ago, back in, I guess, 2008 and 9. I was figuring out some shit. I was losing some weight. I was starting to catch up with some old friends from high school. And my buddy said, "Man, you need to get out there and date." I was like, "How the hell do I date?" Like, I was living in the middle of nowhere. I had nothing going on really outside of traveling to meet my buddy, and I was
Yeah.
I'd started singing with a barbershop chorus. If you're familiar with barbershop quartets, "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the youngest person there by about 50 years, and so yeah, like
50 years.
my life was pretty small. I had a hard time meeting people. So he's like, "You need to get
Yeah.
online." I was like, okay, it's scary, but fine." And like the day
Yeah.
after I made my profile on OkCupid, the person who ended up becoming my wife messaged me, and she was living in Europe, and I was
And she
living,
messaged you, right?
yeah,
First.
yes,
I have an idea. Like, I say the best relationships, because I've dated a lot, and the best relationships I've had is the girls who message first.
huh?
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Maybe,
The ones that I had to message first to get it going. Because sometimes you'll get like people who actually have a conversation. They have these one, and then some people will just give you a sentence, and I'm just like, no, no. I just ghost right after that. I'm putting my
shit,
dirty laundry on your
brutal,
fucking.
man.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, they're not into you if they're giving you a little sentence, for sure. If they're giving you a little sentence and they're not asking you anything about yourself or anything like that,
Yes,
that's a waste of time.
yes,
It's a waste of time. And that's how, because I have to use the apps, because like this is how you meet
that's the
people
meta.
nowadays, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the meta. So I've learned my way of what to use my time for.
Hmm.
But yeah. I'm sorry, what was the original thing that we were talking about? I think I just derailed. You were talking about meeting your wife. Oh yeah, okay. And I meant, okay, yeah. Yeah, we
I don't
talked
even
about
remember,
messaging
man.
first.
I don't even
It was
remember, man.
messaging first. All
Tell
right,
you
I was
what.
making sure.
Tell you what. This
I was
is
making sure I didn't
actually
cut you off.
no, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. You know what? This is actually a good moment for us to take a short break. Should we do that?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stretch our legs real quick. Everyone, grab a fresh cup of whatever you're drinking, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Mm.
Be right back. And we're back. I'm Deeg interviewing MattVisual. We're gonna take a few minutes to actually give away a few Guild Wars 2 community chests.
Yes.
Ooh. We've got a few of these to
Courtesy.
give away. So,
Oh.
uh, giveaways are not something I know a lot about, but I have a giveaway thingamajigger loaded up on my screen. Let's see if this actually works. Cantha? Cantha? These are in celebration of Cantha. says there are 0 eligible users. That can't be right. Azure Avocado is waiting for the $1 million question from Matt. Everyone wants to know one thing. I want to know what everyone wants to know.
What does everyone want to know?
I don't know, but I want to know now too.
Is it? Oh, will I be playing Guild Wars 2? I swear that's like everyone's question. They always joke around with me constantly. Hey, Matt.
You become known for something. It's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of a show of respect. You know?
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna be playing Cantha.
Not everyone has that. You get known for. You're going to be playing it.
I have to.
You have to.
If Colin called me out, I can't.
That's right. That's right.
I can't just not play. No. I definitely want to play. The thing about Guild Wars is that it's the coming back after months and not having any skills or any of the traits unlocked. And the only way to do that is to find a group to run trains with. And it's just like, why? Let me play. Let me pay for it. Like, I don't know. Like, something.
What do you have to do?
And
I guess you have to get the mounts.
Run around. You have to run around because you can't do it yourself. It takes. Well, you probably could do a build.
I'm gonna ask myself what you need to catch up on. I guess the hero points.
The hero points,
dude. We could not got the hero points. You and me in one night, easy. Yeah, 2 people.
I might take you up on that.
Yeah, we'll figure
I need
it
to
out.
catch up. You have to do it for each and every.
How many classes do you play though? How many professions would you play?
Yeah, I know. I need to figure out which one I'm going to play. What's going to happen is I'm going to do it for a guardian, and then I'm going to be like, you know what? I want to play the warrior.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to do it for the warrior.
Yeah.
It's oh my god. That's like the only thing.
My experience of doing those skill point unlocks is like after you do it the first time, you kind of figure out where all these places you need to go are, and then you just like put a commander tag on, and people will show up where you're going. It's not that hard.
Really? Okay.
You can buy hero points in World v World. There you go.
What?
Apparently.
What does it cost? How come the wiki doesn't tell me these things?
I think we're going to do a giveaway here of one of these community chests in about 2 minutes. And it's based on active users, which means you have to be typing in the chat. So if you're listening to this and you want a Guild Wars 2 community chest, just type something in the chat. If you're a sub, you get a little bit of luck. Not a lot, but a little.
A little luck.
I'll roll it at 35 past the hour. But yeah. So, gotta play versus wanna play. This is a world I didn't understand until I started making podcasts.
Oh, really?
It's I didn't know how weird it was going to be. It was kind of fun at first because one of the things I was trying to figure out when I started doing the podcast, which was just before the pandemic, started 2020, is like games weren't giving me what I wanted anymore. Like I was playing games and like there's some kind of itch I couldn't scratch. Like let's do something creative. Let's do something creative. Yes. What can I do? I figured out pretty quickly that being in a video editor was going to be hell. I didn't want to do any edited content. I was like, what does that leave me? Okay, well, I have this conversational skill. Let's apply that and see where it goes. So this ended up being the thing. And then all of a sudden, like I was like, oh, I should play this because I might want to do this content. That was really exciting, right? For a little while. And then after a little while, it became, oh no, I've done this kind of content. That means I have to play this now because it's a continuation on what I've already done. It's what is that? Do you experience that, or did you experience that?
Of what being, which part? Being stuck at like having to do the same thing.
The sense of as a creator feeling like you have to play something. You actually said it earlier about having to play End of Dragons versus wanting to play End of Dragons. What is that
Yeah,
calculus like for you?
yeah, when you have to ask you the question, that's when you know. That's when you know. It's like,
Uh,
"Oh, boy." It's like, "Oh, no. Has this become one of those things that I don't wanna do?" Yeah, and, because you're doing it because you have to have coverage, right? That's how me and the other, tubers used to think about it. It's like, "Okay, we have to have this coverage, and we can't enjoy the game right now. We have to think of we have to put on like the YouTube goggles, see everything through content, glasses. Like,
mhm,
oh, that would make a good content. I should write
mhm.
that down, or I should just film it right now and put it up. I should and it's after a while it just gets like that's why I was like almost wanting to go into Twitch because I could just play a game and just relax and enjoy myself
Yeah,
instead
the
of like
stakes are a
having
little lower.
yeah. I was like, man, these dudes are just sitting down playing games. All I have to do is be good at something or or make
Mhm,
someone laugh, and that's literally it, right? I was like, yeah, maybe that's the way to go because sometimes you just want to sit down and you just want to play, just
true,
want
man. So true.
to, yeah.
So, like, yeah, have you ever had moments where the feeling of having to play something actually brought you to an experience that you enjoyed and might not have had if you had only been playing what, like, sounded fun to you in the moment? Like, has gutting through that feeling ever felt good?
Hmm.
It's a weird question because
Um,
it's something that I find in my own experience is a lot of time I'm not aware of the thing that will feel good once I put in a little bit of effort to kind of get over the initial hump.
yeah. Yeah, the initial hump. Sometimes JRPGs can be like that.
Really?
Let's see. Yeah. It only gets good after 15 hours.
Oh god.
Um, we don't have that type of luxury these days.
Huh.
I'm trying to think. I remember trying to play Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and pushing through that, and I end up just not doing a video of it because it was just so freaking weird. The
Mm,
weirdness of it was like the start of his weirdness, man. I mean, they're
really?
all weird. They're all weird, but I
That's a
really
world.
enjoyed the first 3 games, and then 4 4 and other ones with Quiet and what's her name? Pia? Something like that. Some little tiny girl that wasn't a tiny girl, but you thought of her as a tiny girl.
Mm.
She would do things that she should not be doing as a tiny girl. It's just like,
That stuff always
really weird.
creeps me out, man.
It creates. Oh no, you probably saw it. You probably saw it in one of the videos. What am
Mhm.
I going to do with you? And she like goes on this under the the whatchamacallit, the cardboard box with Snake. It was
Yes.
in I think yes, because it was in the start of one of those 2026. I mean,
Yes.
2016 video or something like that. It
Yeah,
might have been the
I do
2016
remember
video.
that.
Yeah. And that was me saying, "No, I'm not gonna review this game because it's
I
taking too
think
much." Yeah.
I think of all the videos of yours that I've seen that, like, I kinda picked that out from the Yandere simulator stuff.
My most viewed my
Right!
most viewed
What?
video is the video where I'm shitting on the mic, talking about, like, anime girls, like, that's how shitty YouTube was back then. That's this is me raging, but, like, that's how it was. Literally, I could have had a career playing anime boob games and I decided to just do more like structured because that's what made me happy.
That is so
But yeah,
crazy. That is so
yeah.
crazy. Here are my notes from watching this video, all right? Because it's the most viewed video. I gotta see what's going on. Schoolgirl murders other schoolgirls? Question mark exclamation point. To prevent them from capturing Senpai's attention? Question mark exclamation point. Can't actually interact with Senpai, only manipulate others around him. Keeps accidentally killing girls in basketball court. Nervous tick? Question mark. LOL. A girl Matt failed to kill seduce senpai equals heartbroken. Jesus Christ. Tranks victim throws in a box, restrains her in a basement, kills all the girls with a katana.
Yeah.
Who is this? Who is this experience for?
I don't know.
Is it a parody of
man.
something?
It's a parody. Well, yeah, in a way, of like tropes,
Okay.
but you're
Tropes.
playing that trope of the lovesick girl,
Okay.
yandere. Yeah.
Is that what that means?
So
I don't know these
yeah,
tropes.
yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, it's
I'm
anime
totally
head.
unplugged from the anime world, man. I'm like as
Oh,
unanime as it
really?
gets. Absolutely. Yeah. No. The most anime I've ever consumed, back in my high school years, I watched Cowboy Bebop, and because of that, I eventually watched Samurai Champloo as well. That's it, though.
Don't watch the live action.
Oh, right. I heard that it I don't know, like it doesn't have it.
Didn't have it. It's missing. It's missing the soul, or what made the anime so good is missing completely, completely
That
from it.
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it was like kind of, I don't know. It's like it's Netflix, but we had like some of that. Like, okay, maybe this might be good. You saw the intro. We're
It
like,
had a moment.
okay, had a moment. Answer your question. I think Just Cause 3, I played that. I was like looking for a game to review at that time after I finished the Fallout series.
Mhm.
And I think Just Cause 3 was like a surprise. I did not think I was going to like that game. It was a pleasant
That's
surprise.
like that sandboxy, actiony kinda fly
Yeah.
around, cause a bunch of damage kinda game, right?
Yeah. Like something that can easily get boring. you know? At
Uh-huh.
least nowadays, that would easily get boring. Like, I can't even stomach Far Cry anymore
Mhm.
or any Assassin's Creed. Even though I love those games, and I'm like the
Yeah.
only one who loved Desmond. So
We grow
whatever.
beyond those things though, right?
Yeah, we do.
We grow
We
beyond
do.
those things. I think it's fascinating when a lot of these old games get repackaged and put back out again into the world. I mean, there are remakes, of course, but I'm talking about like just like remasters where it's just like the same thing with a coat of paint. Like Diablo 2 came out with a remaster recently. Um,
Yeah.
World of
Getting
Warcraft, of course,
used to.
very famously with WoW Classic. Um, there's this
Man.
interesting thing of people going back to something that they loved at a different part of their lives.
And sometimes they remember it. They romanticize that memory.
Right.
And then when they go back to it, and they're like, "Hmm, maybe Majora's Mask wasn't that great."
Was I an idiot at that age?
No, 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 no. No,
Impossible.
no. Don't raise at me. Don't raise at Um what's it call it? Yeah, like some games I mean, I love Mario 64, but I'm pretty sure going back to it, I'm gonna be like, man, this fucking camera.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that terrible sound.
Yeah. It's constantly, yeah. So super annoying. Super annoying. But
um,
it's funny 'cause I enjoyed 64 more than I enjoyed Odyssey. Now,
hmm.
probably going back to it, I wonder if is it nostalgia that, are
So
we
you
just
enjoyed
looking.
60 more when it came out than Odyssey when it came out. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's that's the better way to say
Well,
it.
bro, when
Because I'll
64
be going
came
back to
out, what other
yeah.
3D games were there when 64 came out? I remember being in a Toys R Us, right?
Mhm.
In like one of those ancient demo stations they used to have before N64 came out. Back when I was still reading articles about it being called the Ultra 64. And I sat there at that well, I stood there at that station, I played this game, and my brain felt like it was melting. Like, trying to control this camera, trying to move this character around, being in this world, like, the idea of a 3D space inside of a 2D screen, I feel like it was reprogramming my brain. It was a
Yeah.
major, like, threshold moment for me in my young gamer life, and, I don't know. To this day, I still can't make myself play 2D games for some reason.
What?
Yeah.
Shit, those are my favorite.
Yeah,
Hollow
there
Knight?
are great games out there, right?
Yeah.
I just
Tons.
I give this a lot of thought, man. I think it has something to do with my ADHD or something.
Ah.
And the feeling of not being physically connected enough to the point of view of the actor in the game. Something about being in the eyes, like for a first person game, or over the
Mhm.
shoulder with a third person game. I feel like I'm there, and that is what I want. And if I'm looking at like at an isometric view or even like a side on view for one of the many amazing platformers, I'm just like, who cares? I don't know.
Oh, that means you've been trying VR then, for sure.
No, I'm so behind the
What?
curve.
Oh my God. What is it, like $200 now to get in
I'm
the.
a late adopter, dude. I'm a late adopter.
Yeah, I'm like an early adopter for sure. I had like the first one, and now I have the Quest 2. Yeah, like just you put it on now. Like before, I had to set up everything. Now I just put it on, and I'm there. I'm like, wow, this is technology is moving fast, man.
What do you think about
I
VR?
I think it's not quite there yet, but it's getting there.
That's
It's
what I
getting
keep
there.
hearing.
Yeah, it's
What's that
getting
going to
there. Like,
take?
oh man, I think we're getting slow. I mean, from what's happening with metaverse stuff and crypto and stuff to them actually making gloves for VR,
Hmm.
from Facebook making gloves that actually work properly. And I mean,
So improving
you got
the tactility of it. What does crypto bring to it?
well, the whole like digital assets. Like, it's like watching Ready Player One and all the crap that you see in those rooms
Sure.
when they go to like their housing.
Hmm.
Um, it actually being real assets that you can like sell and
So
stuff.
ownership.
Ownership of the internet,
Okay.
ownership of your world.
This is a big pivot for us, Matt.
Oh God, let's not. People hate crypto talk. Hate it. They hate NFTs. They hate it all.
You must
Let's
have it
not.
rough then, man.
Oh,
Your Twitter
I
bio
have it.
is you are the crypto daddy.
I am the crypto
And then
daddy.
you have a four-letter acronym that I had to actually look up. BAYC.
Board Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah. Yeah, that put me down a rabbit hole, man. I didn't
Oh my
even know.
God. I bought those stupid apes months ago when they came out,
Right.
and now
So
they're worth so much money.
so Bored
I
Ape
don't.
Bored
Yeah.
Ape is like the reason it's hard to talk about this because there's so much groundwork you got to lay. I feel like,
Yeah, it's too much, really, to me.
yeah, it
Yeah,
stretches
it's a
it
lot.
stretches the
Yeah.
brain. But basically, like, so at first, I think another problem too is when you look at crypto and NFTs, it's easy to kind of dismiss it because the way people use technology now is kind of incompatible with that
Mhm.
that way of thinking about digital goods. Like we all just right click and download whatever we see. Like it's we're used to like, oh, I like this video on YouTube, I'm just going to download it or whatever. Like it's so easy to get copies of stuff. The idea
Yeah.
that there would be an ownership of this that is doesn't prevent that copying from happening, but still means something is kind of confusing. And I think what people don't see is that this is kind of like the first wave, right? Or one of the first
Yeah.
waves of um uh really durable receipts. And what does that mean? Durable sort of decentralized receipts. Um
Mhm.
Now I don't know a lot everything about this technology. I'm sure there's a lot you could teach me. I've just done some research. I'm not in it myself.
Yeah.
But what I am is a kind of a curious observer. And especially of sort of the dynamic you described earlier, people hating NFTs, people hating crypto.
I hate it.
Why is there hate? Um,
I it will be hard to pinpoint because everyone probably has their own reasons. The
Okay.
first one that always comes up is the environment. People
Right.
think like NFTs are single-handedly, gonna kill us all. Um,
Right.
um, and I think that's like crypto in general before we move towards like what like things like Cardano does, like is proof of stake, where you're
Okay.
actually staking your owned Cardano or owned Ethereum instead of doing proof of work, which is um what you're basically okay. When you're using your Visa card
Yeah.
and you're swiping, it goes through computers, right?
Yeah.
The bank and everyone's doing that for you. With Ethereum, no one's doing that. It's decentralized.
Mhm.
So people do it. People says, okay, you can take some of my computer's power and you give me a little Ethereum, for being able to prove your transactions.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how that's generated. So NFTs, people who are mining are, proving all these transactions. So it's generating power that ultimately, causes, bad environmental stuff.
And
But like,
that's how it's controlled,
yeah,
right? The idea is
that's,
you have to solve really, really difficult computational problems, which
mhm,
limits the supply of the thing to prevent it from becoming inflationary.
mhm.
I think that's the
It's
way it's supposed to work, right? Proof of work?
yeah, work.
And because it's bound by computation, that means it's informally bound by, hardware and the power that supplies it.
Yeah. So right now, it's not great. It's
Mm.
not great, but there's no stopping the train. That's the thing. And there's that argument. There's the people who miss out that are also get kind of angry.
Yeah.
There's people who, yeah, you know that
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
The
um,
there are the people who are on the inside of the FOMO curve and the outside of it, right? That's an easy
yeah,
dynamic to understand.
yeah, yeah. And really, as an outsider who doesn't know anything, going on Twitter and searching up NFTs, you get a lot of filth. You get a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't, you just like, who do you trust? You can't trust anybody. Everyone's trying to make money. Everyone's
Yes.
trying to do this, trying to do that. Like, like it's very easy to go look at the space and like, this is stupid. All of this
Mhm.
is stupid.
Mhm.
Why the fuck would I pay thousands of dollars for this? This is dumb. These
Yeah.
people are not credible. Blah, blah, blah. Like it's very easy. You have to like slowly get into it to kind of see like who are the right people,
Mhm.
who are going to be the Google and Facebook of Web 3.0. Who are you actually investing in?
Web 3.0, that's the word that folks in crypto use to describe this idea of digital goods ownership.
Hmm.
I learned that one too. I don't know what I think about that. I watched an
It's
interview a long time ago between,
yeah,
um, an AI scientist named Lex Friedman. He's a prolific podcaster. You may have heard of him, may not. And Vitalik Buterin, and I might be saying his name wrong, but he's the guy who made Ethereum, right?
yeah,
You know
yeah,
the name clearly. Uh,
yeah.
I scanned for this when I this is part of the rabbit hole of seeing BAYC and then figuring out a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Buterin said is, shit, where did I put it? Here it is. Um, that he actually is on record saying NFTs are overrated. And
Mhm.
in that interview, he said, I think I was probably wrong about that. And that he couldn't personally relate to the concept of spending a lot of money on a digital good. And he doesn't understand the psychology behind spending, say, $200,000 on an original digital art piece. And if it were
Mhm.
him, if he had a mansion to decorate, he'd probably just photocopy shit because, whatever.
Yeah.
What are the Vitalik Buterins who don't understand that idea of ownership? What are they missing about this?
Well, okay. I think one thing has to be said is that Vitalik, filthy rich.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that aspect of what he thinks is of importance to do, his understanding is completely different from us.
Yeah. Different.
You know what I mean?
Important context.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because so because he always seems a little bit young in the head every time I see him talk. But yeah, like he's a bit different. But yes, a lot of people do think this way. Because they don't it's not I'm not gonna say it's like a good or bad thing to actually like dive into this stuff, but like because you just never know. Like I usually tell people don't do it and just watch. So whenever you see an opportunity, you can kind of jump in if you want to jump in. It's not necessarily like it's not like everyone's game. Like everyone's not winning like it was in August. You know what I mean? But I would say we could bring it back to a practical thing of like, imagine you have baseball season tickets, if those exist.
Yeah.
And one of them, and the team sends out these NFTs, and these NFTs are the seasonal tickets. You can show these to get inside and get your seat, whatever like that. Let's say something happens, you want to sell it. What, you don't like the team anymore, or you just need the money, you can just take it. And this NFT could have other stuff too, like, you know, be able to go to a lunch or some type of special seating at a convention or blah blah blah.
So it has some
attached
perks
to
thrown
this.
in with it, like maybe some discounts on a hotel.
Exactly. Whatever is attached to the team, you know, you can get with these, because they can just enable it at any point and be like, oh, okay, you know what? All my seasonal passes, boom, you have now access to, you know, Gary V's restaurant. You know, it's like
Sure.
that could just happen. If you don't want it, you can sell it and you can make your purchase back, or maybe they're worth more because the team is winning constantly and they're all talking the news. Right. So there's the money aspect of it, right? But there's also the practical stuff of just like being able to be completely connected with whoever you're supporting.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
which part of it
it's
speaks
like
more to you?
shares. A little bit of both. A little bit of both. It is nice because like I grew up poor. I grew up learning things from scratch because my mom didn't know anything. Single mom. So it's just I had to kind of learn. I had to learn about money. I learned about taxes and everything like that. So as I grew up, I learned, okay, yeah, maybe going to a job every day is probably not the best way to make money. For like an actual like
selling your labor. Yeah.
Yeah, like actually be having stuff to having extra. And I'm not talking about rich, but just like you can pay for your children's college if you have children, or anything, or any other expense.
Right.
In order to do that, to actually make money and not be like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. I can't just take off work or everything falls, you know, living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I learned about investing, and when this opportunity came in, I jumped on it immediately.
Okay.
I jumped on it immediately. I
That's
saw
the
it
Bored
as
Apes?
the Bored Apes, and that's why I was like, you know what, this might be this might be it, because I was already into crypto, and I was like, okay, this is a natural way to go into. And so I did a bunch of research and bought a couple stuff.
Okay.
So making money, that like investment high that you get, I do like that. But I do also believe in the tech of like actually being able to be connected to everything.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just a natural thing coming. Like if I played, you know, Guild Wars 2 and they had NFTs, and my Sunrise Legendary Greatsword was an NFT that I could sell, because I don't well, if I don't play Guild Wars 2, I'm not going to play Guild Wars 2 anymore, and I just want to sell it, or loan it to somebody. I could just do that, Yeah, and you could change those assets from which game. Like, oh, I don't play Guild Wars 2 anymore, but I want to play New World, so I can sell all my assets, all my time invested that I did into this game, sell it all, and I can buy stuff in New World. So it's cross game NFTs.
Or even be able to just port the item between games in some way. Yeah. If you can't wield it as a weapon, show it as a trophy or something. Like having ownership of digital goods be more permanent, and also, and I think what's kind of implied here is confer rights to the holder they don't traditionally have when it comes to digital good ownership. Generally speaking, we live in the land of licensing. We all license our access to Guild Wars 2. We don't own anything about it or our characters. We have a license to log into an account, which is why when we're banned, we're not owed anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember logging in one time and I got banned and I was like, why would I, what? How did I get banned? You know how you don't use your account for a while? Someone tries to kind of sneak in. And try to, yeah. So I got like, somebody tried to get inside my account. And I was like, man, if I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, I wonder if I can say, hey, I'm MattVisual. Can you please unlock my account? I swear.
Here's my YouTube channel. Can we make something happen here? Yeah, bro.
That was like the only time where I'm like, wow, my cred can actually maybe get me something, because it never gets you anything. But like,
that's awesome. And did you get it resolved?
Yeah, okay. Without saying anything. Yeah. He was like, oh, make sure you keep your account logged. Do the 2-step authentication. I'm like,
2-factor.
Yeah. Okay, I will.
All right, Matt's account is up for grabs, y'all. You heard it.
No, I definitely did it.
Okay. But like bringing this back to like the NFT, the idea of like having stuff, because all this only works if, in some sense, what you own when you own a Sunrise is more than just the ability to use a weapon skin in one single game. There have to be additional rights, and those rights, in some sense, need to be enforceable. I don't know how any of that shit works. Here's a vision of it that I thought was pretty interesting, and to me, kind of fleshed out part of what I think the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the appeal of it is. And you kind of alluded to when you're talking about the baseball season tickets and all the perks. This is a quote from Gargamel. Is that a name that you know?
Yeah.
He apparently is the founder.
Yeah. He's the founder.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's what he said. The name Bored Ape Yacht Club got our minds racing. We came up with a story. The year was 2031. Bitcoin and Ethereum had. I think he said token over the world. I think it was like a dumb pun, but whatever. Everyone who aped into crypto is rich beyond their wildest dreams, but now they're just fucking bored, and they only want to hang out with like-minded fellow apes and away from everyone else. To do that, you've got to go somewhere special, a ramshackle yacht club deep in the Everglades. It's not really a yacht club. And it seems like there's a sense of community that people really value with this whole scene.
Yep.
Are you part of that community?
Yeah, they had a yacht party like a month ago.
Did you go?
Like real people? No, I didn't get to go. I was actually moving at the time. But they had a huge NFT. It's called NFT NYC, and it was like all of Manhattan was like filled with these signs of NFTs, pudgy penguins and apes and all sorts of weird shit. I bet a lot of people were confused, but yeah. That was like the first get together, I would say, was NYC, and then they started having like little meetups, but that's like just the first. And now there's another one with Gary V. I don't know if you ever know about. He's like this loud,
yeah, I know Gary V.
Yeah.
He will tell
He's
you what he
deep in it.
thinks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's having VCon for his thing as
Okay.
well, which is also NFTs. Yeah, so like people are like, that's why like the whole scamming argument about the thing is just like, these are all real people. Like
Mhm.
they're they're here. Like not everything is a scam. Not everything is just weird. It's new. It's new tech, and there's scams everywhere.
Mhm.
That's why you should probably stay away. But you know, this is something. This is like a movement that's happening. This year
Yeah.
has completely changed a lot to the point that Congress is talking about it. You know, so and you know, and they have to understand. And I watched this video of like this guy's just sitting there explaining to him like what Web3 is and how it's going. Because, like you said, this is just the beginning. Like, there's going to be so many changes. A lot of things are going to fail. Probably most of it is going to fail,
Mhm.
and something's going to come out the ashes. It's like VR. Like Oculus 2 right now is probably like the best thing you can grab. Right? You
Okay.
don't have to set up anything. You just put it in. But NVIDIA has like this new AI where all you need is a camera and it just like knows where your body is, you know, kind of like what Connect was, you know, back in the day, or what we
Oh.
thought Connect was, you know. And that technology is growing. Like we might end up like not having to need a headset
Mhm.
or something that big anyway,
Mhm.
you know. So
Yeah, a next step for
things could
VR that
change.
that doesn't require a whole bunch of not wearing a whole bunch of hardware.
Yeah. All wireless, all everything. All you have to do is like wear some gloves or maybe even a couple like a if you want to do full VR, you can have like a bodysuit and then like these
Yeah.
glasses and then
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Or just get a
Yeah.
microchip behind your ear, like right here. Go right into your brainstem.
You
Easy.
play would you get a microchip?
That is a question, dude. Um,
I think about it. I think about
I
it.
think I would
Like if
consider as a late adopter. I'll
yeah,
let you go
Elon
first.
yeah. Elon was talking about that Neuralink and all that
Yeah.
and I was like, "Man, would I get that? I think I might
You seem the type.
get
You
it."
seem the type, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like, just, like, being able to just can you imagine editing a video, like, with my mind? That would be insane. I don't know if
Huh.
that's even possible. I don't know if that's even possible, but, like, you see how people do it in the movies, and they're just, like, using their hands and doing all this stuff, but
Yeah, like Minority Report.
I've
Mm,
yeah, I've seen, like, the I've seen those things where they put on that little headgear
yeah.
and they just think about a character moving and they just move,
Mhm.
you know? So eventually we'll get there. The question started with like, are we there yet? And like, we're not there yet, but 5 years from now, things are going to be different. Next year is going to be crazy. I
Why next
feel.
year?
Feel like COVID is starting to, well, I wouldn't say slow down, but there's a certain normalcy now with
Mhm.
like, oh, we just had this big scare. Everyone's getting their 5 booster shots, and hopefully we're kind of okay now, you know.
I don't know,
And
man. Mhm.
yeah, I know. I try to speak it into existence that so I can actually like just feel normal going out and be like, okay, maybe I should just like it's so scary. Like you can't even go to like a club or something where it's just like stuffed like a bunch of sardines because you know you might catch something
Yeah.
dancing on. Yeah,
And there are a lot of people who just won't do the basic things to keep themselves and each other safe. And you put one of those people in a crowd of 50, and all of a sudden it's everyone's problem. It's just I don't know.
yeah.
I'm a little it's validated my own hermit-like tendencies. So,
A lot. It has validated a lot of people like that. A
yeah,
lot.
I think that's totally
And
true.
I'm a little bit of both. I like to stay inside. But I also like to have some type of social interaction every once in a while. So I have to have like
The
that
mix.
way to go out. Yeah, that mix. Because if I stay home too much by myself, because I live by myself, I start talking to myself. I start like, hey, man, I'm not gonna be able to like talk to people anymore. I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna be making weird noises and stuff every time I open up a soda can and go, you know, like you know what I mean? Like I gotta be normal.
You
People
gotta
gonna think I'm weird.
you gotta like test
I am
Matt.
weird, but
You have to test Matt against the world just to make sure that you
yeah,
know you're still in sync. It's more of like a synchronization, kind of like when your phone, you know, make sure you have all your emails, make sure you have all the recent human protocols in place,
yeah,
like not
yeah,
making weird sounds when you open soda cans. uh,
yeah.
yeah, man, we are fundamentally social beings, so that makes sense. Uh, we wandered off
See,
the
you're
crypto.
lucky. You have a wife.
Yes,
Yeah, you have
I'm
your
very
wife. So
lucky. I'm very lucky. She's been out of town for a couple of days, and I'm just like, where's my human contact?
and when you wake up and you're like, wait, where's she?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a cuddler, so I gotta I gotta bring him close.
Oh yeah, man. I
Yeah,
could see
bring
you
him
as a
close.
cuddler. I believe
Oh yeah,
that.
I'm
I bet you
definitely a
give
cuddler.
good hugs
Can't live
too.
without it. Oh yeah, I can't live without any of that. I'm definitely, if we're talking about love languages, definitely physical touch
Hmm.
is like about number one, and quality time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I took one of
Yeah.
those the five love languages tests a long time ago with my wife. I think mine were time spent and words of praise or something like that.
Words of affirmation.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So apparently,
I got into this when I started dating, so I was like, oh, let me no, because like people talk about them, and I'm like, they have like it gives you like a baseline of like what people are into. Like if you
it's something.
see someone you're dating is all into gifts, you know where her head's at, you know, and you just like, you know.
Oh God. I like, you know, occasionally I'll look back over like a DM conversation I'm having with somebody, especially with my wife sometimes. And in the moment when we're communicating and I come up with like a gift that like really like captures a moment, I always feel like
Yeah,
oh yeah, nailed that. Nailed that.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
did
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But then I look back at that conversation like 2 weeks later and I'm like, wait, what was happening? Like I don't actually see myself in that communication. All I see is like this like hieroglyphic communication I don't know remember anything about. I think something gets lost
Why? Yeah,
with that kind of
yeah,
communication, you know? When you're not expressing yourself in a more, I don't know, natural way.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get that. And gifts though, like you kind of you need a little bit of that, especially with like just add a little something to just texting. Like I feel like
Mhm.
just texting needs a little bit of flavor. Like it's
Mm.
just bland without the seasoning. Gifts are like seasoning, you
Yeah, it's
know?
like so that
Not,
it implies, like, a
they're not the meal.
proportionality.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. They're not the meal, but you know, you just a little salt bay on it.
You talk,
You
you
know, and
talk, you
all of
talk, you build a moment, and then bam, you pay it off.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. What the hell are we talking about? Um, I feel like I wanna, like, go back and finish up a little bit more about Bored Apes and crypto stuff. Can we talk a little more about
Alright.
that? Is that
Yeah,
alright?
for sure.
Alright.
Yeah, let's do it.
Uh, so I'm just learning about all this stuff. Um, I think that if there's any part of Web 3.0 that I'm having a hard time making room for in my heart, it's the idea of the ownership of stuff somehow being an important dimension of personal expression. It almost just seems like a very high tech consumerism to me. To what
Mm.
extent are the things that you own the things that are you? I'm not sure I'm convinced that moving to a model of 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 being that is based heavily around that kind of idea is necessarily a good thing.
I agree. I think like the barrier for entry even is just ridiculous. For the stuff that I would say are the ones that are going to go up.
Mhm.
You know, um, I think because I would say NFTs are not mainstream. This is a very closed thing that has spread to mainstream ears.
Mhm.
You know, um, because like I don't identify as a bored ape. I'm not some rich crypto guy who just got like that whole story. But it almost, when you go into discords, it almost seems like a lot of the people who bought this stuff, especially early on, like OGs as they call them, a lot of yeah, OGs as they call them,
Mhm.
they have this like tribal, like, oh yeah, we knew that this was going to be a big thing, or blah, blah, and that's why we bought them. There's a lot of circle jerking, I think, that comes along with a lot of this stuff. It's just like, yeah, I knew this, I knew that. Yeah, like, no, you didn't.
Mhm.
No, you didn't. Like, yeah, I took a risk to do it, and I had that similar feeling, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, this shit could have gone to zero.
Yeah.
I could have wasted, what was it, like $1,500 on a fucking ape for no reason.
Yeah. You were in the right place at
At
the right time, and you
the
got a
right
little
time.
lucky.
And I got real lucky. Yeah. So, and after that, I just kind of just kept making decent decisions. But now I've come to a place where I'm just kind of just like scared of what like everything is going on. Like there's too much weirdness going on. People are making these projects to get a quick buck. They're doing all these things. They're just making
Mhm.
stuff and dumping them. And it's creating this very weird ecosystem in
Yeah.
NFTs
I
where
think we should, like, have we explained what bored apes even are? So, because most people won't even know what this is. Uh,
mm,
essentially, bored apes are a limited run of digital art that is a picture like of a bored ape, like a cartoon picture. It's fairly. I think part of its appeal is that it's actually quite tasteful. Like it's cool looking art. And
yeah,
there were a group of 5 artists that essentially made a bunch of accessories and modification art pieces that then were randomly applied to a limited run of, I think, 10,000 apes. And so you have apes that are different colors, wearing different shirts, had different hats, like different expressions on their faces, and they'll look different. By the way, Matt, I want to know what your apes look like. Um,
all right,
if you're sharing, uh,
yeah, yeah,
and once you have this piece of digital art, which is linked to this NFT, which is a decentralized way of determining ownership, it then becomes like the baseball ticket Matt was describing. And if there are layers built upon this NFT where, like, in rather than buying a baseball ticket and getting a discount on a hotel, or maybe access to like a special lounge at the stadium or something like that. Maybe you get access to a special Discord, which has maybe some like celebrity types in it who are also, maybe it gives you access to something else, or people build projects on top of it, like what you're describing. Like one I saw where you could like buy, you can get mutators for your ape,
mm,
which would take your specific ape and like put
and mutate it.
like a make it like a zombie or like an alien, or do something kind of crazy and outlandish with it.
Yeah,
And then that then becomes an additional layer of stuff that you own based on something you already own. But again, the bottom layer is having a thing. But the thing
yeah.
that emerges from it is a community of havers versus have-nots. And then
So
and then the sorry, I'm gonna let you jump in. I'm coming kind of a roll, but you should totally jump in.
yeah, no, 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 no. Go ahead, go ahead.
Because the thing that I look back at, like the first time I learned about this kind of world, you know what? It
Yeah.
looked like to me. I remember this from like the late '90s as Beanie Babies.
Mhm.
Beanie Babies had this very same kind of craze, and people sought the uniqueness of the supposedly rare ones, and they changed them, and there are people trying to make money off of them. Some very successfully, some not so much. There are warehouses full of Beanie Babies in somewhere, and it's a fad that eventually died out because owning the Beanie Baby ended up not being very interesting eventually at some point. And aren't the Bored Apes doomed to eventually suffer the same fate as Beanie Babies? Because eventually the thing that's tasteful will be something else, and people will move on. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the ape you have isn't about something you are. It's about something that you have.
I think out of the ones they call them blue chips, right? Out of all of them, I think the apes and like CryptoPunks, right? Those are another one. Those were
Right.
worth like $500,000. They kind of dipped down a little bit now. But
Another
like
run
those are
of randomly generated, or maybe not randomly generated, but individual, unique, thematically consistent art. Right.
yes.
Avatars.
And they came out and they were given out for free in 2017. There's also CryptoKitties, which was like the first like big one where a lot of people like was breeding and trading and doing all sorts of stuff.
Breeding them, okay. That's another dimension.
Yeah. Oh, you could do a lot of stuff. A lot of people do a lot of crazy and
Your apes
we're
have
talking
gotten
about
any
like
action?
the mainstream. Huh? So,
Have your apes gotten any action?
No. They decided to go with mutating instead.
Okay.
And having the collection be 20,000, an additional 20,000, and then the original OG apes being 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the price to entry is significantly lower than the OG apes.
Okay.
So that is when it comes down to mainstream. I feel like whenever that happens, it has to be like Pokemon cards, that type of price where you're going to the store and you grab a pack and you get tons of NFTs for like, $10 instead of it now where you're buying like some of these things for like $20,000. It's just unheard of. Like it doesn't even make any sense, right? I think later on that's gonna be yeah. People keep saying that and it just keeps going.
When will the bubble burst is always the question.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say because I'm not invested. So I'm just like throwing rocks.
No. If it bursts, it bursts. Like it is what it is. I feel like eventually, because it died when CryptoPunks was the thing and CryptoKitties, and then NBA Top Shot was huge. And those were all NFTs. Dip. Those became pennies. Everything became pennies. And all of a sudden, Bored Ape comes out, and this is resurgence of NFTs, bigger than it was last time. Kind of like what happened with Bitcoin and all that, where it's just like, fucking Bitcoin. Like you remember, you used to get those shits for free when clicking on a website.
Yeah,
and I definitely should have freaking got a couple, right?
in hindsight, yeah.
And how many times?
I missed out too.
Exactly.
I could have gotten some at one point, and I just like,
Many times. How many times? Many. And how many times did people say it's shit, it's stupid? It happens. I think, not to say that NFTs is exactly the same, but there will be dips. There will be heavy dips. The NFT stuff is not going away. If anything, it's going to evolve, in my opinion. Most of the NFTs you see, though, are gonna be shit and nothing. I think out of the ones, Bored Ape is in line to be one of the ones that stay because they're the ones who started that big NFTs again. Well, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. When Beeple, I think the first one wasn't Bored Ape. It was like Beeple sold his art piece for like, what was it, like 10 million or something like that. I can't remember how much it was. Yeah, Beeple?
I've heard the name.
NFT artist. Yeah, put like a bunch of images. People are going wild. People are
Sure. Okay.
but yes. I think for it to hit the mainstream, for it not to be sought as what we're seeing it as now with everyone, and it's probably going to have to be a couple years down the line when this actually spreads out to like an actual finished product, like a lot of the games that people are making off of NFTs. Even though Steam banned an NFT game the other day, I mean, Axie and Axie Infinity exist, you know. And do you know about Axie Infinity? It's like these
I
little
don't.
Pokemons. Yeah, that
What is
is
it?
the biggest. They make, I think they generate like $500,000 a month. I think that's changed.
That seems
Where
good.
people, yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. I think it might be a little bit more, but yeah.
And how do they do this?
When they have a finishes, so basically, there's so many new people coming in. So many people are going to be buying the breeds that you're making with the Axies, and people are buying and using the tokens that you get from playing the game. So it's just like this cycle of like people who want to pay more to get the best stuff, and then it trickles down and people buy other stuff, and then it just kind of goes into like a nice little cycle. But I think it was going up constantly, and it kind of leveled out now. But because people found out that in other countries where minimum wage is shit, or wages are in general are shit, they were making more money spending 4 to 6 hours a day playing Axie Infinity and getting a cut of the profits. Because you can what you can do is provide a scholarship to people that are over there, like, oh, play this game, and then they get a cut of like the profits that you get, and then they can cash their
That
profits
is a
out, and you can
weird
cash.
fucking world, man.
It's a weird
That
fucking
sounds
world.
very
This is the
weird.
world we live.
I get why
It's the
Steam bans
world
it.
we
It
live
sounds
in.
very uncomfortable.
The world is definitely changing.
Like I think
And
I try to think about like some of the unique things that have been awarded to players and the various gaming worlds I've been a part of. Like I can think of one, like for example, a game I play called PlanetSide 2. It's like an MMO first person shooter. It's all PvP, 3 factions,
yeah,
big continents, territory control. Um,
I remember that one.
yeah, cool game. It's still chugging along, good for them. And uh, there was a player who got like I think 1,000,000 kills or something like that with one weapon, or some very high amount. Maybe it was 100,000. I don't remember exactly.
Jesus.
And and yeah, like an excessive amount, like crazy, way more than anyone else. And that was just kind of a fun thing. The developers granted this player a totally unique skin of the weapon that they had all the kills with, like a gold version of it or something like that. And it was kind of a neat moment for the community because it wasn't something anyone planned. It wasn't already in the game. This is just like, oh yeah, like we should do this. We should recognize this cool player accomplishment. How cool!
Yeah.
And it was cool. And someone else I interviewed last year, like broke a record with another weapon, and the devs did the same thing. And they gave him a gold version of the weapon. And they have these, and they may use them or not, these players. But I ask myself, like, okay, let's go to a world where those kinds of things are actually owned by the player. Because the thing about those rewards in the game right now is the player has very little agency over how to use it. They can't choose to apply that skin to a different weapon. They can't change the weapon. They can't give it to someone else. They can't take it to a different account. They don't actually own that in any sense, in any meaningful sense of other than actually just using the weapon on that character.
Yeah.
In the world where that kind of a thing can be moved, and maybe not just move between characters and accounts, but even between games, and that item would have a real world dollar value attached to it. And the changes that would result in where people are engaging in the experience of these games as a way to make money or as a way
Mhm.
to, let's say, spend money. I don't know, either of the two.
Yeah.
Is that actually a world that we want to live in?
Play to earn. Um, do you think it's any different than um what's out now? I mean, we always complain about cash shops, don't we? And how you kind of need it.
Yeah, I think
They
it's different.
developers say they need it. Yeah.
Um,
People spend a lot of money in skins, like a lot.
okay. Yeah, sure. So what you're saying is in some sense, people are already putting in either the time or the money, right?
Yeah. So
Like,
if they're skins, if they're actually skins, right? Or are we talking about power or are we talking about skins?
let's say in the world of cosmetics. That's just the happy place
If
for
it's
Western
just
gamers.
yeah, if it's just cosmetics, then I mean, there's no difference. I mean, like, man, you go to Valorant and you have to pay like was it $50 for some of these packs and shit. It's kind of ridiculous,
Right.
almost.
But those are price controlled by the developer,
Right. And in this, it would be like an auction house, right?
like a
It would
market.
be a market for we get to control how much it costs.
And does the effect of those market forces produce a better experience?
Hmm. I my
What if
first thought would be no,
Mhm.
to be honest, because I feel like there's no change in the way I play.
Okay.
But it's definitely going to change a lot of things because that's probably not going to be the only thing that changes. It's probably a lot of things are going to change to fit this new model, right? It can't just be like, imagine NFTs in games. Like, it's never going to stop there. Like, this is just the beginning, right? Like, this is just the first wave, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this stuff is going
This
to change and go
conversation
away
will age very poorly is what you're trying to say.
very poorly. Yes. Yeah. Next thing you know, like we were talking about apes, like fucking apes. You remember when those shits were a lot of money? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. Things
Yeah.
change all the time. Yeah,
I guess
I'm more excited that things are changing
right.
because life gets boring. Games get. You remember we were just talking about Mario 64 and
Yeah.
how it felt to play a 3D game for the first time.
Yes.
We don't have that experience anymore. Like it's done.
Mm. The
We don't
craving for
have
novelty,
that.
the need for
Yeah.
novelty.
Yeah, like when VR gets real good. I mean, like with some Sword Art Online anime bullshit. When it gets real good,
Mm.
imagine like nothing holding you back.
When it hugs you back.
When it hugs you back, yeah, yeah, yeah. Porn will
And
get insane after that point, but yeah.
yeah.
Is that too much for the podcast?
No, it's not. And then the question is if when anime hugs you back or any other verb you want to use there,
The
are
title
we
of the
are we getting
podcast.
more in touch with ourselves as a result of that technology or less? I guess this is always the question about technology, and it's going to age poorly, like the same way people talking like rock and roll and shit like that has aged poorly, or talking about whether TV is good for people has aged poorly. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. People still think TV is pretty bad for you.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I think everything within balance, right?
Hmm.
Like we're talking about like technology with dating and stuff. Like
Mhm.
maybe you need to take a little break every time. Just take a little
Yeah.
break.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see some people out in the world,
Yeah.
and then come back to it.
Yeah. I think you're right.
You- yeah.
I think you're right, man.
I I think people they dive in deep sometimes in anything, and it just becomes them. And it gets a little bit like sometimes you just need to
Hmm.
step
Would
back,
you
and yeah, yeah.
would
Go
you
ahead.
call yourself an optimist, Matt? You seem pretty
Uh,
optimistic
I
that things
do.
are going to
Yeah, I
get
am
better.
optimistic. Yeah, yeah. I would hope so. Like I feel like I feel like no. Sometimes I'm like really real, a bit of a realist, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I try to look at the bright side. Um, unless the evil is just staring me right in the face, and I'm be like, oh, that's
Sure.
shitty.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
that's
does
shitty.
happen.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna be sitting here like rose tinted glasses and be like yeah, everything's great. My family member just died, but everything is great.
No
I'm like,
problem
yeah, no,
here.
no, 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 no. I don't see things like what is it, birds
But
of
that's not what
prey.
optimism is, right? Optimism isn't the
Yeah.
idea that there's no wrong in the world. It's that things will get
Mm.
better. And I think that
Things are good. Okay.
optimism is there's a lot less of it like free floating and hanging around than I remember when I was growing up. I'm not sure if you get that sense too. I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes I feel like I'm an optimist. I have a sense that a lot of the problems with technology we're talking about are that the world changes so fast we're just still catching up, and we will catch
Yeah.
up. We caught up to all the other shit that we've ever had to figure out. We figured out what to do with nuclear weapons, or we're still figuring out what to do with them, but we haven't blown each
Mm.
other up with them yet. That's
Yeah.
a fucking hell of a vote for the human race, in my opinion. The fact that we can
Yeah.
handle a
No.
technology like that, or we have at least to this point handled it without blowing ourselves up. And I see like the internet the same way. I see Tinder the same way. Like, I was watching this series by this I think he's a psychology professor. Um, oh god, I can't think of his name. But he proposed this really cool idea that I think is really true. That it's not just so much that our technology changes over time, and it's not just so much. It's not necessarily that. Um, there's kind of this idea that people were simpler before. Um, Looking back at a simpler time, and I've thought about that idea in the past and always kind of poo-pooed it. Like people are basically the same.
Hmm.
But I think there is some truth in that the way that people think does change in a way that mirrors technology. And that there is a sort of psychotechnology, which is the word that he coined, that I've kind of tossed from my head, like, what's that? Is that bullshit? Is that crap? Or does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like the idea that there can be a number zero is something that some past civilizations would have a hard time understanding. Um,
Hmm.
or even other kinds of things, like the idea that people can be equal before the law, not based on their gender or the color of their
Yeah.
skin. That is a sort of
Yeah.
psychotechnology. It's a way of thinking. Um,
Yeah. That's changed.
and that kind of psychotechnological iteration requires a huge amount of human gore and bad dates and failed startups and stupid news articles and also successes in order to work out over time what the best psychotechnologies are and the ways that we can handle exactly what you're talking about. It's striking some kind of a balance
Hmm.
between, um, convincing yourself that you're an enlightened person because you own a bored ape or an NFT or something like that, and that you're part of some
Yeah.
elite club who is part of the future, and that you'll live off of it for the rest of your life, versus someone who's so grounded in the reality that surrounds them that they can't imagine what could be. That there's some kind of a middle path that's actually what we ought to be striving for.
It reminds me of a video I watched. I watched the whole thing because it was just some random video of a guy walking around his high school at the end of the year,
Mhm.
filming random people, his friends, and what they're gonna do and who they're gonna miss.
I've seen that. It's from like the '80s, right?
Yeah, dude. And people are all out in the spill out. That's what we used to call it, where it's just like all just talking to each other. No one's on their phones. No one's being shy. No one's doing any of that. Like it's
Yeah.
just like people are just around.
Uh-huh.
And he went around. He asked people who are by themselves in the corner. Like it's like man, I miss those days. I miss those, and it's the reason why I go to these meetups because that's like the closest I can get to that. If people don't know, it's this thing called meetup.com where you can like just meet groups of people who want to do the same thing: hiking, D&D, going bar hopping, whatever. And you go there and people just want to talk about Ren. I met a guy who worked for Intel and started talking about AMD and bullshit. And like it's just like just all these experiences. Like, yeah, I kind of do miss some of the simpler times where it was just that easy just to be like, hey, how you doing? And it wasn't just like this when you went up to someone, it wasn't just like, oh, why are they coming up to me? You know? Because I've learned to break through that now. Where it's just like I have to learn how to break the ice with everyone I meet. And you learn that with like selling and stuff like that when you're a salesman. But like yeah.
It's a skill. You can develop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I feel like I'm hearing this at the sometimes I think people come into your life at the right time, man. That what you just said, I think something I really needed to hear.
Yeah.
So like
why you say that?
Can I ramble for a minute? Do you mind?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
So I told you that I created the podcast as a response to a problem, which is playing online games for 20 years, starting in the late 90s, going up to 2019 at that time. I feel like I wasn't getting what I needed out of it. And not only that I wasn't at that time, but that it had been a decade since I felt like I'd really gotten what I needed out of video games. And I couldn't quite name what that thing was. But I knew I wasn't getting it. And I'd blame the games I was playing. I'd blame the people I'd playing them with. Like, y'all are all just like unenlightened, whatever, and can't get on my level. All these rationalizations I came up with. And eventually I kind of created a little bit of a handhold. I put one foot through the door. I'm like, all right, let's do something creative, make the podcast. But even through this last couple years I've been doing this, I still feel the same way, and I still have this trouble when it comes to the way the model with which I've used video games and that I still try to apply. And there's something about human contact that I keep trying to get out of those experiences. I had actually an interaction on Friday night. I was bored, lonely, wife was busy doing other stuff, and I was like, okay, I just got through a stressful week. I have a new job, so there's a lot to learn, and that takes a lot of energy. I'm a little too tired doing creative, so I'm going to blow off some steam before I go to bed tonight. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll log in and play a video game. I've been playing New World a lot. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of too boring. What can I do to make that spicy? Oh, I can stream it. Let me turn my stream on, right? Because then I'll get some people coming to talk to me. That'll be great. And I load this game up, and I think, okay, well, I'm in the game world now. What am I going to do? And I'm like, I can go do this really boring, repetitive thing. I can go to this really solo thing. I can go do this like really high energy group thing. I'm like, you know what? I want things to be simple. I want it to be like when we were level 1 and we were all just starting the game and we were all flagged for PvP and we just fight each other for fun. You know?
Yeah.
We weren't trying to get any gear out of it. We were just overcome with the joy of being in this space together.
World of Warcraft days.
Yeah.
Going outside the settlement. Yeah.
Exactly. And you're just like, you're just intoxicated by the world. I wanted to recapture that. And so I went to a place where it seemed like there might be some PvP happening out in the world. The way the game works is in order to provoke, it doesn't really matter. I won't explain it. Who cares? But I went out into the world.
I played New World, yeah.
You know a little bit about it. I was asking myself if people listening to this needed to hear it. They probably don't. But PvP out in the open world is something that does happen in this game. Most of the time, people are grouped up and they're trying to get something done. But me, I just wanted to have some fun, so I went out and tried to find it. And I did not. I got ganked. I got corpse camped. I got people who just wouldn't fight me. They just run away. Even though they probably could have beat me, but they were just too bored. They're like, like I'd rather be getting my daily rewards than fighting you. And I got so frustrated. And actually, one of my most loyal viewers, a dude named Henry, shout out to him. He checked in on the stream and was hearing me rant about these people. I was I was fighting a bunch of marauders, which is the green faction in New World. And I was like, these guys are fucking orcs. They're all orcs.
Yeah.
Like they're illiterate, just stupid. The orcs stronger together. I was so frustrated and not being able to get this contact that I needed.
Yeah.
And he said, "Uh-oh, I can feel like a Deeg rant podcast coming from this." And when he said that, it pricked something in me. And for the first time, I was able to verbalize this thing, which is a realization that I keep chasing this thing in the world of video games because I'm too scared to chase it outside of games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how. And I'm not sure I can do it. And I admitted to myself that these people, they weren't playing the game wrong. They were doing whatever they needed to do. I don't know. I'm sure they were having some fun. It was me that was engaging in bad faith. It was me who was misusing the video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was supposed to do differently, but I decided to just stop. But you talking about like the meetups and stuff like that, the conventions when that's a thing it's possible again, and COVID makes all this shitty, but
Yes, it does.
I feel like I'm hearing something that I needed to hear. Because I have this like myth about myself that I'm supposed to sit in a bedroom and play video games the rest of my life. And it has never fucking worked.
Yeah. I too use video games, or at least I was using video games as a crutch. Like I like needed like some type of hole filled.
Mhm.
So I played a bunch of video games, trying to scratch that itch, like you said. Like there's this itch. It's like I need that right type of video game to make me feel good, to release that chemical, and just be like, ooh, yeah, I played a good video game. You know, like yeah, you know, it's like, oh, it hits the right spot. It's like watching a good show. It's like, shit, this was made for me. Fuck. You know, like,
yeah.
And I realized I was like, okay, when I go down this rabbit hole and I'm like, man, there's no new Metrovanias, because I've literally played every single Metrovania ever to exist. Like, my Steam is insane. But yeah, I'm looking for this thing, and I end up just like, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to take a break because I need to enjoy that I actually have free time to play this game, not just playing it because I'm looking for that feeling, you know. And I did try to like, that's how I kind of like made sure like meetup is like part of my tool set. You know, I have to have those interactions outside of the house, especially if I'm working remotely, because I'm going to be inside the house a lot.
Hell yeah, remote life, brother. I'm there. Exactly.
Yeah, remote life's you're in there, you go downstairs, you eat, you come back up, you're out, like it's just like okay. You know, like you get through that rhythm, you need to break it up. For me, like well, I don't have it up now, but in my old place, I had like lights up to try to make like I was sleeping and working in the same room back in California.
Sure.
But now I have like my own office. But like, yeah, I would separate it a little bit, make this like
make the space feel different. Different modes.
Yeah. Different modes, you know, and a lot of that helped. Just be like, okay, when I'm ready to play, I play. And I try not to use weed, because weed is a crutch too. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, oh, time to get high and watch, you know, Dexter or whatever.
You layer on those things, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it makes you okay about being bored. You know? So yeah. But yeah, I think it's healthy, because like you said before, like we are creatures who need connections. I'm gonna have to find like a D&D group again over here, because I hope there's some in Austin. Because there's nothing like being fucking nerdy and cringy in front of random people. Yeah. with your barbarian, named Pony or some shit like that. Like, it's just like, there's nothing greater than that, and sometimes you just need that. Like, I went out a couple of days ago and I met some people. I was like, man, this was great. This was great.
Yeah.
You just meet people, like, yeah, I'm like, well, like, man, like, I really needed this. Yeah. So trust me, I understand you. I understand you, dude. Like me, where are you? Where do you
Seattle
where
area.
do you live? Oh, Seattle? Shit. Meetup is probably popping in Seattle.
I'm
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
There's probably a lot of like D&D stuff as well. There's also like you could also play like online stuff too. Like
I can already do
I'm
that
mentioning
with video
D&D.
games though. It's just it
Yeah.
it
So
feels
like,
too
yeah, because I
samey
know
to me.
D&D has like an online thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to meet people, then Meetup.
How
You
does
can
that
just
work with
find
COVID stuff?
people don't care.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Well, like before, obviously you wear masks and stuff like that. But I was never going out. But as soon as like I started getting my shots and everyone in the group got shots back in California, we all started hanging out with each other.
Word.
But
Okay.
we didn't hang out with other people outside of it though until like a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like now people are kind of just hanging out just to hang out. Maybe not sardine clubs, but
Yeah.
people are hanging out. Yeah. So like
Okay.
it all depends on your risk factor there. Get your little booster
Yeah.
shot, get triple booster shots, and just hope for the best.
I wish you could just keep
So
boosting
that's
up, man. I'll end up becoming a fucking COVID mutant. I won't just
yeah.
resist it. I'll defy it. I'll like make it. I'll cure it in other people if I'm boosted enough.
Yeah. Every time you shake hands or breathe in someone's direction, they just like feel like, oh my god, I'm healed. Jesus. Yeah.
COVID Jesus.
It's COVID Jesus. Oh my god. But
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm really glad you shared that, dude.
Yeah.
And it's a
Sure,
good
man.
message
Like,
for a lot of people out here, like that I think might be hearing this is it's so easy to wrap ourselves in this technology and all these
yeah.
layers of stimulation. You know, you talked about weed, anime, video games. You can do all three of these things at the same time. I remember
Yes.
the first
Yes,
time
you
I
can.
discovered like Netflix or its BitTorrent equivalent. Back in the pre-Netflix days of having TV show, video game side by side. I thought I'd like crack the code, man. And it's just gotten more and more your needs in order to scratch that itch just get further and further out the more you go down that hole.
Yeah. Yeah. When you feed it for that specific thing, you just keep feeding it and it just gets hungrier.
There's
So
something about
yeah.
lack. Something about allowing yourself to be bored, about allowing yourself to be unstimulated. That seems to refresh all that stuff. To make
Yeah.
you excitable again, to make you interested in novelty and try and open to possibilities again. I feel like so much of the cynicism and especially see expressed online comes from this tendency of overindulgence, where because people are unable to make themselves happy by consuming media and consuming games and consuming drugs or whatever whatever their personal cocktail is, you end up
Yeah.
believing that none of it makes sense, that it's all fucked because you feel like shit
Yeah.
because you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
What's inside you, you project. Much like I was doing on that stream when I was frustrated with those people, when really I should have been frustrated with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a routine because of it. So like I wake up, it's like hit the gym
Mm.
and just you feel like you accomplished something
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
When you do it early, you're like, oh, okay, I have like the rest of the day. Okay, shoot. All right. Now I can like get to work and stuff like that and feel like, like I think having I know like some people are against routines, but I think having a couple things that you do every day, like making the bed, actually like mentally helps you. It's like, okay, let me just make the bed. So every time you walk in your room, you're like, oh shit, like bed is already made. Like I did something today, and then like, you know what? Maybe I can call and cancel my storage because I don't use it anymore. You
Mhm.
know, it's like shit like that. Like,
It's
you
the
know, I have this
snowball that
list.
happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like,
I have a list that I need to get through,
you don't prefer
and
to
just
just,
like,
like, sit there in your pajamas and just try to ignore none of it exists while you entertain yourself? Isn't that much better?
it is much better. It is much better until like at the end, and you're just like, man, I haven't done a fucking thing this
You know what it is
weekend.
for me, man? I can't enjoy any of my distractions because I know that I'm not doing something I should be doing, and it corrupts the thing that should be fun. That's what happens to
Yeah.
me.
I need to think that way. Get more stuff done instead of like last minute stuff.
I also think though
Yeah, I
that
need.
there's that getting stuff done can be a trap sometimes. You know?
Yeah. A trap. What do you mean a trap? How could it be a trap? Getting
Uh,
things done.
um, have you ever seen like an MMO gamer, right?
Hmm.
Let's say like someone who really fell in love with a video game. It could be Guild Wars or many other games like it. Um, and they fall in love with the game for whatever reason, and they really enjoy being in the world, and then they kind of lose interest, and they find a way to rekindle their interest. I know I'm going to unlock every single greatsword skin, or I know I'm going to become an achievement hunter. I'm going to try to get 30,000 achievement points or whatever it is, and that can be fun for a little while, and maybe for some people it really is the right way to orient yourself. My experience doing that kind of stuff is it's based on this idea that we are a sort of vessel of potential that can be optimized for output. It's a sort of story of it's a machine story of productivity that we tell ourselves that we should be orienting ourselves from. And if what you need is to get stuff done, it's a good way to approach a day. But is it a good way to approach a life? Isn't there something about being in our skin that you can't tap into just by getting stuff done? It's a matter of balance. If you're not getting
Hmm.
anything done at all, probably thinking about routines and getting shit done is a great way to go about your life. But like
Yeah.
one thing, this started happening to me after I really got the podcast rolling because had my 9 to 5 and I was trying to do at least one podcast a week, which I put a lot of preparation into. And and
Yeah, I can
then
tell.
well, thank you. And then I was also trying to make time for my relationship and all the other little things I got to just make my life go. And I end up getting into this mode where every single day is a race against the clock. And over time, I end up losing touch with myself. Um, I become a shell. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm getting things done, but I'm getting more and more distant from the spark that maybe got me going in the first place. I need to step back and rejuvenate. Um, that's the sense in which getting stuff done can be a trap,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And you see people do
Yeah. I
that in
had.
video games all the time, where they keep themselves busy, but is what they're doing actually feeding them?
Yeah, I never got the whole. Like I used to love completing all the achievements on my Xbox. I
Mhm.
mean, hearing that little bloop sound, I was like, spicy chef kiss. Um, but now I just still get that with Game Pass, which is like the best thing to happen to Xbox.
Game Pass is
Um,
nuts.
yeah, it's free. It's free. It's $5 a month for like unlimited everything.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, price of McDonald's. But like, yeah, I think. Wait, we're talking about balance. I just blanked out.
You know what? I think this is a good point to go for another one of those little breaks.
Oh my god, the sidetrack mind went off, and I was just like, I'm thinking about all the things to say next, but I'm like, wait a minute, there was like the what I was supposed to say beforehand. But yeah,
Yeah.
take another
No, no,
break.
no.
Oh, how many did you give away so far?
Oh, the keys? I've only given away one. I've been bad.
You should just toss them out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just put
Bubble.
them in like the YouTube description when we're done here. And first, no, but then they'll just get scraped,
Oh
right?
yeah,
I
it
can't
would
do
just get
that.
scraped by one person. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Oh, I could do it on your. You could do it on your Discord. Just
Discord
give it
could
to.
work.
Yeah, you can just give it to some people who follow you.
Yeah, you know.
As long. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just. I mean, this is. I just wanted to kind of give it out to people because I know I'm going to be terrible at this, and then I'm going to get an email like, "Oh, what did you do with those codes?"
You know what?
Listen.
We'll give away at least one more here live. But before we do that, Matt, I think we should take another short break. You good with that?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Be right back, folks. And we're back. I'm Deeg interviewing MattVisual After Dark.
After dark.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You look like you're actually in a black void.
Yeah. that's very common. Very common. My other room was exactly like this because I didn't have enough lights.
That's the true
Usually I
way
have, like, a
of
light
the
back
gamer.
there.
The only light coming from your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it would be more like this, right?
Ooh. Oh, that's no good. There's not even a hint. All I see is like a reflection off your mic arm.
The darkness.
I kind of like the side
There it
light
is.
though. It's so moody.
Yeah. I usually do the side light,
Oh.
but this one has to be just a little bit, just a nice little key light, just to give me a little edge.
Yeah. Like a different color, like a nice teal or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There it is.
Well, hey,
So
Matt, there's one more topic that I wanted to bounce off you, and it's because after the one thing I've really seen you in since YouTube, which kind of fell off in 2017, is getting in. You're still involved in podcasts. You did TOVG, and you've been a part of Dad and Sons. I just wanted to ask you about that. Like, what do you get out of being in those podcasts, and like how did that start? And just talk to me about it.
So TOVG, man, it was just me and Super Bunny Hop just wanted to do a. Actually, I think Gerard, the completionist, talked to George about the podcast,
Okay.
and then Jimmy and me came on. George invited me, and I think Jimmy was already doing stuff for Gerard at the time.
Okay.
So it just kind of became us three. And that's how it started. It was supposed to be a podcast about Gerard too, but it ended up just being us three.
Okay. All right.
Very, very weird turn of events.
Huh.
And then when that ended, because I guess like things were going in a different direction, George wanted to start up a new podcast, and we're thinking about names and stuff like that. But he got Liam, which he met at the Japan trip. I never met Liam at that point, but yeah, he met Liam before we came on.
Got it.
And I got to meet him then, and Liam's great. Liam's overly cool.
Hey, he's living the game dev dream in Japan, right?
Yes, he is, and he's coming out with Curse to Golf.
Ooh.
Curse to Golf, man. Pushing his behind to get it published, and
Let's go.
got a deal, and yeah, man, he's doing big things.
Is it a solo project of his, or like?
No, he has a guy doing art. He has a guy doing programming with him, and I think one other person. And
He kind of runs the show. It's his thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh yeah, it's his thing, and he's dipping in other projects now, and he has it, man. He has it. The game is shaping up quite nicely. It started off like, oh, you should put this on iOS. Now it's just like, man, this is a full-fledged game now. Got anime, pixel art, and everything.
What's it called again?
Yeah. Curse to Golf.
Curse to
Wish
golf.
list it, folks. Wish list Curse to Golf.
Curse to golf.
It helps
okay.
the developers even if it's not Curse to Golf. Like,
Oh yeah,
if
that's
you
totally
want
him.
help the
I see him on the
developers,
Steam page. Cool.
yeah. He did the whole indie video thing, and it was great.
Nice.
It was
Okay.
great,
Cool. So anyway,
yeah.
TOVG became Dad and Sons.
Dad and Sons. I guess like when it stopped, he kind of wanted to do a podcast again. So it kind of just became.
Why did TOVG stop?
I don't know the specifics.
Okay.
So it was some internal talk between them.
All right.
Yeah, and I guess something happened because, like, I know Gerard was like in the beginning, it was supposed to be with him and stuff, and it ended up not being with Gerard, and then
it kind of moved over time, and maybe it was more comfortable to start fresh.
Yeah, start fresh. Yeah,
fair enough.
I think he started again, the podcast again, and it stopped again.
So, okay.
Yeah, so I guess the podcast was just dead in the water from the beginning. But yeah, like so. A lot of the audience, I guess, kind of some of that transferred over and to Dad and Sons, and I don't know why we were thinking about Stamford and Sons, and then we decided to make the theme, from that theme song, and then call it Dad and Sons. Yeah,
it's
and we're like,
cute.
oh, is this gonna be alienating to women? Like, I'm pretty sure women's gonna like how many women are gonna listen to our show? And I'm like, no, like people actually
there are any girls on the internet.
So now I know, right? Yeah, but that's like so untrue, especially these days. Even though most people are males, obviously.
No, that idea is very much from the 90s internet. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's changed. That's definitely changed. I meet people all the time. All of a sudden know how to play Zelda better than me. So I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'm the fucking noob.
Beaten by a girl.
But yeah. And so every time we have like awards or something, we have like best daughter and then best son and then best dad and stuff like that. Like, so
it's cute. Everyone needs a theme.
Everyone needs a theme. Everyone needs a theme. It's not really a theme. I don't know if it's a theme, but we use it every chance we get, because we don't really call each other dad or son throughout the whole thing. But yeah, it's on a long hiatus right now, but it's a thing. Dad and Sons.
What is it about the podcasting thing? Like first TOVG, then Dad and Sons. Like it seems like even though you're not out there with your own YouTube content or whatever, that you still like to stay plugged into that world, that scene. What do you get out of it?
I like to talk, I guess. I like to have conversations. And the podcast is like, okay, I may not be doing videos, but I'm still kind of like connected to the world. I'm still like knowing what's going on. I'm still like, it's like a way I get as much out of it as I guess the people who watch, Yeah. So
I think it's kind of similar to like the D&D meetup thing for you. It's about
exactly. Yeah, I don't. You don't need. I need to go home and edit a video or anything like that. I can just be like, "Hey, poop on the mic for 3 hours," and then
that's all podcasting really is.
It really is, and people listen to you if they like to listen to you, and that's the end of that. Like, it's just.
I feel that too.
Yeah,
I think the same reason I do it.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Like, there's so much stuff to talk about, Yeah, but now, So I mean, after Dad and Sons, I don't know if and I always thought about going back into to YouTube, but I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm 32 years old. I play games, but do I care about talking about it? Like, do I care? Like, talking on a podcast, that's different. Like, oh yeah, I liked Lost Ruins and SMT5 and all that type of, like, there's a bunch of games I've beaten, but do I really want to be like, well, thanks for joining me on this video and hear me talk about this this thing. I was like, I don't know if I have anything that I want to say that's different. Oh, maybe. I mean, I've watched a lot of IGN reviews, and they're kind of boring. But
They're corporate. Yeah,
they're corporate. Corporate. That's perfect.
Mm.
It's exactly what it is. It's
Mhm.
corporate. Yeah. But there's like so many YouTubers out there that do really great stuff. Yeah. That it's just like, do I have anything to say? I mean, sure. I think it's better for me to probably figure out something that I enjoy doing and just do that and see where it goes. If I ever dip back into it. Because at first I wanted to dip back into it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think if I were to start traveling again, that's what I would probably upload.
Yeah,
Like
I like
more,
I like that I like that direction you were going with your channel right before
yeah. Yeah.
the break.
The break. Yeah. So I think this will be like the next step where it's just like older Matthew exploring the world, and getting beautiful shots. Like I would enjoy doing that. I would enjoy editing that. That would be satisfying to actually do. Like I think with YouTube, that's what it's become for me. Like if I'm not enjoying it, then because that's work. Like those videos, shit. Those reviews,
Yeah.
pages and pages and pages of stuff that you want to not forget. And you're just sitting there sweating, because you want to turn the AC off because you want the audio to be clean. Talking to a fucking camera. Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
The struggle, man. Just like these little things. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's just fucking YouTube. Like if a lot of people watch you, like Markiplier, or not Markiplier, who's someone who does like a little bit more work? Markiplier does work, but who's huge?
I don't
I'm not
know.
gonna. Not JonTron.
Honestly, I
Fuck JonTron.
hardly watch video game reviews anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason why I can't think of any.
There are
No.
a
I
few
do watch.
people. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There are
I do watch.
you talk. This podcast has your name on it. You go.
I do. No, it doesn't. I do watch whatchamacallit, but it's not highly edited.
Is whatchamacallit what it's called?
Gamer X game something X. Is it worth playing? Whoever does that series, I forgot. They're like a million.
Is that the one that has the
subscribers.
guy like this on the thumbnail?
Yes, that crap. I don't know why, but the guy who talks is usually like he sounds okay, he sounds down to earth. I'm like, okay, I can kind of relate with because all reviews is just like taste, right? It's just taste. So it's probably important in the beginning of the review be like, okay, I don't normally play Persona games, but I played Persona 5. This is what I think of Persona 5. Or I've played the SMT games and I've never played a Persona game. I don't know. There's like always something like you need to be tied to the reviewer in some way. Like, okay, this is where he's at.
A personal connection. Yeah.
Personal connection.
I
Like,
saw
okay.
one a lot like what you're describing. He does these really, really, really long video reviews. Never knows best, I think. And he did one on Genshin Impact. And what was interesting about the review is that he went into it thinking it was a game he was going to dislike and dismiss. And it's not the kind of thing he enjoys, and he actually kind of disrespected it at the start. But he went through this journey of playing this experience that he didn't really have respect for and finding what's good about it and also finding things out about himself along the way. And that's the good shit right there. That is entertainment. That is human contact.
Yeah. I think those are a lot better to watch. The ones where it's not a review, it's more like you're experiencing someone go through a game. And it's structured in a way, I enjoy this a lot more. Yeah, I see it here. And Genshin Impact is like it's like a good game that's empty, you know?
Mhm.
Like, so I could totally understand. Like, you could go in trying to hate it, but it's actually not that bad of a game. It's
Right.
actually the building blocks are there, but it's also a gotcha. So you're just like you need to spend that hard money
Yeah.
to get to fill that empty hole inside that you
Mhm.
have for
Mhm.
playing this game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for what he did. I see it as
A-
like symbolically, like kind of harmonious with the world of
An
temptation
hour
that
and
we all
40
live in.
minutes.
What's that?
An hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, you gotta be doing something else while you're listening to him, and that's the way he designs his content. I think it's like side screen content. I think I was grinding in New World when I watched it or something. But anyway, uh,
Cutting those trees, just like in RuneScape.
yeah, man. Layer on
That's
that
exactly what New
stimulation.
World. Yep. It's all is
Absolutely.
exactly what New World is.
Yeah. But it's reflective of like uh, him being in Genshin Impact is kind of like us going through the world of temptation, or me walking down the fucking grocery store aisle and looking at all the stuff that I can easily choose to consume, but I know won't be good for me, and trying to make
Mhm.
good choices that don't just treat my body like some kind of a machine that I'm trying to optimize, where all I eat is fucking kale all day, right? But also, so try to do the things that are good for me, but also try to stay in touch with something about, yeah, this is cool. I'm excited about it, and get that one thing, get that one cheat meal, get that one indulgence that you know you can look forward to. Um, it's a middle path. It's cool,
Mhm.
and because you get to see him in this review go through a personal arc. It's like he's telling a story
Yeah.
about a character, and the character isn't in the game. The character is him. It's
Ah.
very satisfying.
Yeah.
I
I
try
have
to
to
mirror
watch
that in
it.
my
It
own stuff when I do solo stuff, but it's not easy.
it reminds me of some of the videos I've been watching lately. I've been watching this guy who does a bunch of he doesn't only do Rust, but he does like Rust videos and Sea of Thieves videos where it's like more of a story of him overcoming something that's happening in the game. Like a
Yeah.
bunch of people came and killed him unprovoked when
Hmm.
he had no gun, and it was like, and they, it was from like a big tribe or whatever in Rust. And he was like, "Oh, these guys killed me, for no reason. Blah blah. Blah. I'm gonna get them back, and I'm gonna raid their camp over and over again." Yeah, just like crazy stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and they're these gigantic 40-minute videos of him slowly just picking apart a huge base. It's just like, man, dedication. Like it must take some hours to do. Just to feed us this like crazy experience that you just don't
Hmm.
see. You see that a lot with a couple new guys who do Star Citizen and stuff like that. They have like this like Bed Bananas does like this like
Okay.
story that they just make their own story.
Right.
Stuff that you would think that you do in video games, but you don't do, but you
Right.
you watch people on the internet do. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They use the game in order to create a story rather than just relying on the game to feed it to them.
it's machinima that's not machinima. Like
Mm.
it's like the new version of machinima, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really, really cool stuff.
Hmm.
Really cool stuff. But yeah.
And is that
That's yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
someone in the chat, Azure Avocado, is saying they would love to see your End of Dragons review?
And
Um, I
you
don't
just want to
know.
see me rage. I heard it was bad. I heard it was bad. That's what I heard.
End
So
of Dragons? It's
was
not
it?
out yet.
Oh, End of Dragons is Cantha. Okay, sorry. What was the one that was
Path of
the
Fire?
living story? Living
Oh,
story, I think.
Icebrood Saga.
That one. That's the
Yeah,
one people don't like, right?
that's a sad. That's a. I am
It was that
sad.
bad.
I'm sad for the community and sad for the developer both. Like, it's actually not that bad, but what it is it's not what it should have been.
Just like the ending of the base game.
Yeah, I can get into this,
By
man. I have a strong opinion about this if you're interested.
I need to catch up. I need to catch up. So I need to play through
Yeah.
2 living stories in order to catch up.
I mean, you do, but also, do you?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about just skipping it, to be honest.
Honestly,
'Cause
like, yeah,
if it
and
doesn't
make
matter.
that part of the story that you tell in the review if you do some kind of content about it, right?
Yeah. That'll be quite interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'll see though. I
'Cause
have to
yeah.
get all my skills. I'm gonna have to hire you. So okay, so what made it bad? What made it mad then?
Well, to me, what made it bad were the circumstantial factors around it and how that tied into some of the payoffs or the places where it didn't pay off well. So when season 4 culminated at the start of 2019, is that right? Yeah, 2019. That's right. It had been about a year and a half since Path of Fire had come out, and season 4 was chugging along in like boom, 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 like very strong fashion. And
Mm.
they did the whole Kralkatoric culmination arc in season 4. If you play any Living Story, I think that's where their best stuff is. Um,
Mm.
but when it came out, end of season 4, you remember how at the end of season 2 there was a teaser leading into Heart of Thorns, and you may remember at the end of season 3 there was a teaser that led into Path of Fire. Season 4 ended without any sort of a lead in. In fact, it really felt like the end of a story. It felt like the end of the Oreen arc specifically. Um,
Mm.
and it's like, well, is the game over? What's going to go on? What's happening? And then that came out like a month after the massive layoffs at ArenaNet, where all those other projects that were supposedly happening. And this is all public information. I'm not sharing anything that
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then they let us know that there's going to be a an event at the Moore Theater in Seattle to announce what's next for Guild Wars 2, and they tease it. We have no idea what it's going to be, and they end up doing this announcement for a saga, which is live episodic content, which is exactly what Living World is, with
Mhm.
expansion like features. So essentially, they're telling us that it's not an expansion, but we're going to feel like it's an expansion if we just trust them.
Oh, yes, I remember this talk. Okay.
Uh-huh. And I was actually there because 'cause I'm a local. I decided to go. I left that and we came away with a lot of talk. Infamously, they talked about world versus world alliances, and they said that world alliances we still wanna do. We're not gonna talk about it today, we'll talk to you about it later, and they just kinda kicked the can down the road a little further, and they didn't give us a lot to get excited about. They did this whole narrative presentation, which is all very conceptual, not very grounded. We didn't get to see much of anything in this. And eventually it came out and the content was pretty good, actually. I thought it was pretty good, but it wasn't we didn't know what the future of Guild Wars 2 was, and it kind of chugged along and it was good, but it wasn't like this is a great place to invest my time in good. And that's the time when I faded away from the game personally. And then at
Mm.
some point in 2020, something changed, and we heard that, and then End of Dragons was teased, and then shortly after they announced that they were going to be changing the way that they were delivering the rest of the season 4 story into a different kind of way. And the implication, and this wasn't said straight out, I don't think, but the implication is that they're going to kind of just try to wrap up what they have, and they were basically moving off of Icebrood Saga onto End of Dragons, which to me sort of suggests that they were only doing Icebrood Saga because they were not able to work on an expansion. And when they got the chance to work on an expansion, they jumped at it. And the unfortunate fallout of that is that the endings of the Jormag and Primordus arc, which both concluded in that season, were rushed.
Oh, no.
and your game is made of elder dragons, and this just like rushed up on us, and with the promise that, hey, if we wait for the expansion, which was going to be end of this year and now start of next year, it's all going to be worth it. And I think that Arena, starting in the summer of this year, which was a few months after the last content drop, when we found out that Colin had been rehired, we found out that Grouch had been rehired, when we found out, when they started saying all these things about what they were going to do, we got concrete plans about World versus World alliances. And it's like, oh shit, like this beast is waking the fuck up. That was the start of the community starting to trust ArenaNet again. But it's a check so far, and it's all going to be cashed in February, and no one knows. But Icebrood Saga ended up being this period of uncertainty that for the community, and where a sense that there was nothing exciting to come for Guild Wars 2. And it followed a period of time where during the Season 3, Path of Fire, Season 4 era, after Colin left the company, that the stance towards talking about the game shifted from talking about the game to not talking about it and just putting content out. But then the content dried up and the talk didn't come in anywhere. So we were kind of left with what is happening. Is anyone steering this ship? But, and that's why that time was so sad.
Damn.
That's my take on it.
I mean, shoot. I feel like I'm kind of tied to Guild Wars 2 because like that was like the start of a lot for me. Like
you are
being a Guild Wars 2 YouTuber was like the start of a lot of things, like editing, everything. So it's just like it's like a baby, like you seeing it grow up, and he's like, oh no, you had like the weird teenage years, like
yeah.
Please, please.
You love it, but you hurt for it, even from a distance.
Yeah. It's like learn how to fish, learn how to, get some housing. Yeah, whatever that housing we had. Oh my god. But yeah.
Guild halls, right?
Guild halls, yeah. No one uses. I forget that it exists. But yeah. I hope that Cantha is great because I think that was like my favorite area when I replayed the first one before I played the second one.
Mm-hmm.
When I was getting like all my achievements to unlock everything and blah blah blah. Yeah. When I was doing all that, I remember those days. And I can't even remember who I played it with, but yeah, like I think that's how me and Tatos got together, was because I wanted him to help me with those achievements. I think that's what happened. But yeah, like I hope that it comes back because like Colin's back, and I know everyone's just like, oh, it's Colin. Like everyone sees the smile and they're like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. So I hope that he keeps that title,
Yeah.
Because that's the way it makes me feel sometimes. Because like during that phase while he was there, I enjoyed the game, and the last thing I played was Path of Fire, and I probably did like 1 or 2 episodes of whatever was next, and then I just like okay, and it just doesn't draw me in. Like it's Guild Wars 2 story has always been like it's almost cool. Like I feel like it's like almost there, but there's like something. But then I played something like New World, and I'm like, oh man, what is this? There's no story here. I know. That's what I saw. I was like, man, I'm level 35 or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm sitting here cutting trees, and there's no story to push me over the edge. What am I doing?
Are you level 35 in New World right now?
I think I'm level 30. Yeah, I played nonstop when it first came out, and then I just stopped.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people did the same thing. I think that you experienced the best part of the game.
Asmongold said the same thing. Is that the best part of the game is the first 20 levels.
Yeah.
After that, it just gets
Yeah.
Really wait. You kind of get tired that you have to move all your supplies from one place to the other, and then you have to teleport between the two. Like it's just, I get it, and I love it. I love that aspect, but I also don't like it. I also
Yeah.
don't like it when I want to craft things and do stuff. There's a lot of walking that you have to do everywhere. New World.
Yeah, and New
What
Worlds
else?
did this weird thing where they've arrived at a design that seems like it is a little old school, but it's hard to tell if that's intentional or if that's a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's uncertain where they're going with it. It's certainly true that could have used a lot more time in the oven before it came out. Even if you ignore all the game breaking bugs and exploits that have broken everyone's hearts, mine included. If you just look at it from a
Which
design
one?
perspective. Oh, okay.
What's one that was really bad? What was one that was really bad?
So, okay, there are so many. Um,
Oh shit!
there have been a series of invulnerability bugs that players could exploit. And if you want to have a look at him, actually, Josh Strife Hayes, who is like the person on YouTube who's responsible for saying everything that's bad about New World, essentially, um,
Mhm.
has a couple of videos about these. And with certain weapons, you could put your character into a certain state, or then if you like put the game into windowed mode and drag the title around, your character became invulnerable in the game. You couldn't do anything, but the thing is, these PvP modes are capture point based. And the pinnacle mode in the game right now is the war mode. In order to actually acquire territory, because each territory belongs to a faction and specifically to one company within the faction. And all the taxes paid in that territory are reaped by that company. So there's an incentive to own these territories. Um, in order to actually win a war, you essentially have to win a capture point contest. You have to take 3 capture points out in the open field, and then a final capture point that's fortified inside of a fortress. Um, so if you put a bunch of guys on a capture point and then invulnerability glitch them, they can't be killed, and they constantly tick progress on the capture meter. And so that kind of a bug means that territory is changing hands as a result of exploits. And how do you address that? How do you fix that? You turn wars off? Do you reverse results? Do you hand territories over to companies that didn't? It's like, and you have enough of those kinds of exploits, and then you have like bugs where there are certain abilities that are bugged and strip consumable buffs. So people waste hundreds and thousands of gold in consumables in wars. They just get stripped
Yeah.
away by bugged abilities. Or you have certain abilities that are bugged in a way where you can exploit them to do lots and lots of damage, or lots and lots of healing. And they're just so many. Every single week, there has been something new that's completely eroded the integrity of this game mode. That is kind of on the back of the box the best thing about New World.
Yeah. I mean, that was their original design. It wasn't
Mhm.
this PvE stuff. And I wanted more PvE stuff, you know.
Oh,
But then I played the PvP and I was like, this is kind of fun.
the PvP is, I think, where the heart of the game is.
I mean, they definitely built everything around it. I
Mhm.
mean, shoot, you put on your PvP flag and you get extra 10%. And if you're doing all those quests at the same time and you're just collecting on them and going back, like
Mhm.
it's a lot of XP, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Like
it'll be a good
having
game.
PvP up is nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually there was a while where, because once you get to max level, that 10% doesn't matter anymore, right? Because you're not getting experience anymore. So there was a period of time where no one would flag up because there was no reason to. The risk wasn't worth it, and people don't play for fun. Um, but then they added an incentive back, so everyone gets like a stat called luck, which is kind of like Magic Find used to be in Guild Wars 2. Um,
Right.
you get a luck increase if your PvP flagged up. So you have these cool moments that happen sometimes where there are these chest farming events that happen where there are certain high value areas in the world, the elite areas, and they have a bunch of chests that give valuable loot that reset on a 1 day timer. So once a day on my server, each faction will mobilize up and take it through. And there's this sort of informal schedule. Like first one faction goes, and then another faction goes, and another faction goes. But occasionally the groups will clash with each other, and you get these immense like open world, just like explosions of PvP.
Yeah.
Those are the fun parts for me, but they don't happen that often. For the most part, people
Yeah.
optimize out those kinds of inconsistencies.
Making me think about WildStar
Oh
and
yeah,
playing open PvP, and
I
WildStar was pretty fun.
never touched that game.
It was fascinating.
Yeah,
It keeps your attention pretty hard. Yeah, and then you reach the end game and you're just like, "Oh no. This is so hard." At the time anyway, I don't know. Like maybe I just wasn't thinking clearly, but no one could beat those bosses.
hmm.
But then that was it. That was the only thing that was there, and then it just eventually died.
Yeah.
Sad.
The story that part of WildStar is that they just didn't have enough content, right? Also,
Yeah, they didn't have any,
they had this weird hardcore raid design that was based around like 40-man raids.
and not a lot of people was at level 50.
Mhm.
So like you kept trying to run raids with like the only people that were up at the time, and it was
Yeah.
just
As
you
someone,
lose steam real quick.
yeah, dude. As someone who organized 40-man raids in vanilla WoW, fuck 40-man raids.
40 people in the same place. I've never done one. I've never done it.
Dude, it's an entirely different like the whole game becomes about getting people to the one place at the same time. If you're in a leadership position, that's all you're doing. Maybe you're
Yeah.
playing the game a little bit if you're putting in the extra time, but for the most part, you're just like a fucking coordinator, and you'll do anything to get the right people to show up, and with a little bit of preparation and maybe something like appropriate gear.
Yeah.
I would like beg and borrow people to show up. I'd say bring your friends who are like 3 levels from max. I'd say like bring your friends who are playing crappy specs because it's better to have a body a lot of the time. At least in those early WoW raids, which weren't really that difficult. Better to
Yeah.
have somebody there than to try to do it with 25 people. So you had your core of people who knew what they were doing, and then they had this outer ring of people who were kind of mooching off the people who knew what they were doing, and the outermost ring of people who were just clueless and were just there to fill slots.
You ever played Final Fantasy 14?
Nah, man.
No?
I'm not.
Raids are like a thing.
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
doesn't do it for me, man.
It doesn't do it for me either. My friend
Really?
constantly tries to get me to play. I
Yeah.
played a lot. Like I played like 200 hours,
Shit.
and I only got to the second X pack. And I'm just like, and then I had to go through this boring like patch quest. Like cuz everything has to be done in order. You can't just skip things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
MSQ, right?
like, you know how
Main
I did
story
with,
quest.
yeah, and you have to you have to queue up for raids and dungeons and stuff like that in order to progress as well. So, yeah, like, and supposedly that's like the best part. That's what I was saying. If you like raiding, that might be it. Like, supposedly that's the most beautiful parts. I'm like, man, I must be missing out a lot. I don't know. Everyone's playing it. Like everyone is playing it. That's like the MMO that everyone plays. But I just can't get over the global cooldown stuff. Like I
Yeah.
just can't. It doesn't feel satisfying. I feel like I'm hitting people with wet noodles. You
Yeah.
know, eh, supposedly using a controller helps. Like it
Mm.
feels more clicky, tactile. But like you have like 60 skills.
What?
You have like your bar gets like this big. It's like taking up half your screen. Like
That's like WoW
I
vanilla
don't know
like.
what people are doing. Like I was like what are you using all of this stuff? Like yeah, I don't know,
The
man.
thing about Final Fantasy that I keep hearing people say is, yeah, global cooldown, yeah, this, yeah, whatever, but play it for the story. Is what I hear people saying a lot. I can't remember the last time I came away from a video game story and felt like my time was well spent.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold up now. We're not in the '90s anymore. Hold on.
Okay,
Let's see. Let's
this is
think of one. Let me.
sorry. I apologize. I should qualify this. You remember
Yeah.
that earlier to you when I was describing that itch that I had to
Yeah.
scratch? The only way I
Yeah.
can scratch that itch is by playing multiplayer games, usually MMO type
Ah.
games.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when
Okay.
I say
Okay.
that about stories, that's the world I'm describing. I cannot play
Ah.
single player games. I have not been able to play them. I can't tolerate.
Really?
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. So like no Last of Us, Uncharted 4,
yeah, yeah.
or
The last single player game that I
what about
played,
Mario games?
I haven't. I played. I haven't played a Mario game since Mario 64. I think.
Really?
I
Yeah.
played Ocarina of Time. No, not Ocarina of Time. I did play that, but I played Breath of the Wild, but I didn't finish it.
Eh. Eh.
Yeah,
Breath of the fucking Wild is.
I really enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like I needed to go back and finish it.
Oh man, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that feeling where it's just like, damn, like I kind of want to finish this because I got so far in it, but I don't feel like it. Like I had that when I was trying to get. I always like a good RPG, like a really good
Okay.
RPG, and I sank my teeth into the when the PC version released, Dragon Quest, the new one,
Oh yeah,
and
buddy of mine played that.
and I'm like near the end, and I just quit.
No,
And I'm like, I can
that's
no
gonna
longer
haunt
force
you.
myself. Oh, for real, like, because I've already forgotten the story, so it's done.
Oh
I would have to
no.
replay it. Yeah, so I would have to replay it. So it's just like I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I just quit that game because you just get to that age. This specific example is JRPGs. They're very like they sometimes they're a little kiddie,
Mm,
sometimes sometimes it's too basic, and then
mm.
you hit in the beginning everything is like mystery, and then you hit that midway point and you're figuring stuff out, and I'm like, wow, the payoff for this kind of sucked. And then you hit that 80% mark and you're just like, why am I even continuing? And I feel like a lot of those JRPGs are made that way. Like in the beginning, you're just like so much intrigue. Tales of Arise was actually pretty good though. It
Okay.
was weird anime bullshit at the end, but that was fun.
Hmm.
I think I just need action. I think that's what it is. Deeg. I just need some action.
Don't we
That's
all?
what it is. Yes. I mean action games, but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Action in other ways
That's
too.
what I meant too. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the last single player game that I finished was Doom 2016, and the way I finished it,
You finished it? The
well,
key card game where you just go into rooms and you get up
well,
key cards and you swipe the shit?
okay.
How?
So
Please tell me.
a bunch of my old gaming buddies come from a community of players who played competitive Team Fortress Classic. If you can remember that
Mhm,
game, Half-Life
mhm,
One. It's kind of a mod. It's sort of not a mod. It uses the Half-Life One engine, whatever. Um, and I actually like ran a clan in that game that played 250 competitive matches. I met a lot of people doing that all online, like prehistoric, pre-social media era of the internet. Very weird. But anyway, I reconnected with a bunch of those people years and years later via Discord, and like they all like still play shooters and stuff, and they all play Doom. I'm like, oh yeah, I wish I should play Doom too. It looks so cool. Like, and I watched the interviews with
yeah,
like Hugo Martin at id, and he just so gets it. Like, I love listening to Hugo talk about games, and so I'm like, okay, I want to be a part of this thing, and so I played it, and because all my friends are like they're beating it on Nightmare and stuff, it's kind of like a pride thing. I'm like, fuck, I gotta play it on Nightmare, and so
oh my god.
I do, and I get through most of the game, and then I just get to a point where I'm just too exhausted by it. Like, oh, and then I put it away, and then like months later, I came back to it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this on Hurt Me Plenty. I'm just gonna finish it. and I just didn't tell my friends. I changed the difficulty.
Yep. Yeah. The whole like you get tired of having to do work to play a video game. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
when it's frustrating at level 1, I don't know. I tire out. I tire out. So most of the time I play on normal,
Mhm.
but if it's a certain type of game, I can't remember the last game, but I will put that thing on easy if it's like one of those types of games where it's just like, no. Not the ones where it's like, oh, enjoy the story. It's easy one. Like, no, I don't want that. That's just like I need some challenge.
Yeah.
But those games that are automatically just hard all the time and I just put on easy, yeah. But I there's something about accessibility uh options where you can kind of tweak damage and health and all that, and like certain mechanics like, rebirth, or when you die and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or like those. I think if the game allows it, man, those things are a lifesaver
Mhm.
to actually have, like, just because you get to tailor this experience that you want, you
Mhm.
know like,
Mhm.
why do I you know have to feel like I'm gonna die? Like, I feel like Sekiro was a nice. I don't think Sekiro had like a difficulty thing,
Okay.
but Sekiro felt like a nice pace. It was hard as balls at the end, but it felt like that one was like built well. I think sometimes the
Yeah.
difficulty is just a little bit off, a little bit
That's like the
sometimes.
success case, right, for game difficulty is like, those kinds of games like the Dark Souls, the Sekiros are
Yeah,
like, here's the reason why difficulty modes are bad is because if you don't have a mode, you can create an experience that everyone gets to share. And if you beat
yeah.
that game, you kinda went through the same thing, and you don't have people who I don't know, I think it's like the gameplay equivalent of being unable to skip cutscenes.
Oh my god.
Like,
Yeah,
if you have like friends of mine will play games or take experiences in, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know what any of it was about though. It was all stupid." I was like, "Didn't you know about this and this and this?" I'm a person who never skips cutscenes. I don't know
yeah.
why, but I'm that guy. And so I'll pick up on a bunch of stuff that my
Well,
friends.
when you haven't seen it, obviously, right?
What's that?
When you haven't seen the cutscene, you would watch the cutscene, is
No, I
what you're
mean
saying.
uh, like think of
If
like
you
a
if the cutscene leads to a boss and you kept dying, would you still watch the cutscene?
oh, probably not. No, no.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's
But I'm
it's
thinking
more
about
just cutscenes again. Yeah,
Guild Wars 2 dungeons, right? May they rest in
yeah.
peace. They have those skippable cutscenes. And the first time that I would play a dungeon, everyone would want to skip past it, and I'd just be like, "No, like I'm not fucking. I want to know what I'm fighting for, crying out loud."
Yeah.
Um,
Happens in Final Fantasy as well.
mm,
Everyone's
oh.
just already fighting, and you're just sitting back watching the cutscene.
Found the noob.
Yeah, yep.
Anyway, I don't know. Like there being a right way to enjoy these experiences. Like there's value in the game saying this is what our experience is about, and therefore everyone's going to experience it. Versus saying this is something you can take or leave. It's like another layer, and I don't know, like the
Yeah.
Doom games have their nightmare and ultra nightmare modes that are kind of like that. They're there for the masochists. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's some people find enjoyment with getting their ass kicked,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's cool to have games that exist for those folks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many DLCs that come out that has nightmare mode, so,
Yeah,
I mean, it's never me. I'm never like, "Oh, nightmare mode got added to this game that I like? I'm totally gonna replay it now." And no, I'm
yeah.
never like that, so I guess I can't really, relate to that. But yeah,
So you,
I mostly at my age, I want to enjoy, and if enjoying means putting that shit on easy, best believe I'm putting that shit on easy.
that's the mark of a man with a lot of like
Yeah,
who feels like good in his own skin. I feel like.
yeah. Fuck that.
Like I'm an easy mode gamer and I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm mostly normal mode, but
Oh yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
easy.
okay.
Yeah, like I would say like I did feel like putting it on easy on uh SMT 5, that new one that came out.
What's SMT?
Oh, Shin. What is it called? Shin
Shin
Megami
Megumi
Tensei.
Tensei?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You never. It's like the original Persona. Then Persona got spin off of these games. So
All
it's like
those
the same
games,
demons, same stuff like
basically
that.
any
Yeah.
game that's more Japanese than Mario 64, I probably haven't played it.
Oh really, man? I've played way too many games. I have just an encyclopedia of just like shit that I've played, man.
Nah,
This is like
not for me.
I
My masochism is about these online communities that play the same game for years and years and years and years. I'll still go back and,
oh
and, and play TFC pickups with people who I played them with 20 years ago. Like,
yeah,
and
I yeah, I'm not much of a mono gamer, at least not anymore.
so here's where I'm excited though, because I think that there's like a key for me with Remember what I was sharing with you, that little anecdote about realizing that what I was looking for in the game is not actually in the game and it's
Yeah,
somewhere else, like maybe a meetup, maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe
yeah,
maybe 10 maybe 5 podcasts a week instead of 1. I don't know.
yeah,
But whatever it is, if I can free myself from this compulsion to seek this thing in video games, I think I can maybe enjoy different kinds of video game experiences that I wouldn't allow myself to before. And
you
maybe I'll actually get to
should.
play these. Maybe I'll get to play The Last of Us. Maybe I'll get to play, I don't know, something that
Games,
some
some
anime
games have
game.
gotten really good. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Let's start slow. Let's start slow.
All right, all right.
Let's not go
We'll drip feed
to
this.
the dark edge of Steam just yet, okay? Because then they're gonna start recommending you all these visual novels with the blurry thumbnail saying 18 plus. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
man,
What's the new one that came out that was on the top of Steam page? Halloween Party 18 plus.
I just don't think I'm horny enough for
Halloween
that
Sex
stuff.
Party.
Who plays those
These
games?
dude, I don't even know
I
what they're
gotta
doing.
imagine it's horny teenagers, right?
I would think
Neats.
so. I would think so. But
Well,
it's like a bunch of like gamer girls cyberpunk 2069.
that sounds like an SNL sketch from like 5 years in the future.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude. Like there's a lot of weirdness. And it is every day. Every day I check new and trending, and it's just like you always see like one weirdo's thing.
Hmm.
And they're not really good games. They're just like little images. I'm like, guys, just search it up on the internet, man.
Mm.
Don't spend your money on this garbage. What is it? $5? No, $5. What was that other thing we just bought for $5 in this podcast? I can't remember.
Xbox Game Pass.
Game Pass,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Get
worth
Game
your $5.
Pass. That's definitely worth your $5. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have an Xbox, and I have it because of the PC stuff. I downloaded Halo on it. Hell, maybe I'll play Halo single
Yeah.
player. That could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's only single player right now because they decided to release a game without co-op campaign. How you release Halo without a co-op campaign? Have you don't play Halo that much,
My
right?
only experience of playing Halo has been the co-op campaign, and that was really fun.
Well, there you go. No co-op until like May or some shit like that.
Harumph. At least it's a
That
modern
is
shooter that has co-op. Like, how come you can't play more like? How come you can't play Doom in co-op? How come you can't play like Breath of the Wild in co-op? How come you can't play these games in co-op?
I would totally play Doom in co-op
Hell
for sure.
yeah, that
That
sounds
would be so
fun.
sick. That sounds so fun. Oh, I don't know why.
Borderlands is one of the only games, shooter games that seems to care about co-op anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and have you played It Takes Two?
No. I've heard of it though. Didn't it win a game award?
It won an award in all our hearts before it won at
Okay.
Jeff Keighley
I
Awards.
told you I was only able to play
It's
multiplayer
co-op.
social games.
It's
Okay.
co-op.
Maybe that's my
So
inroad.
it has to be co-op. Like there is no, you can't play it single player.
Ooh.
So you get your wife and play that, and guaranteed, that's a good ass game. It's a good. I don't even understand it came from the same person as A Way Out. I don't even understand how it did.
Joseph
But that
Fares,
game
right?
is brilliant. That game
Okay.
is ahead of the curve, man.
Who did you play it with?
I played it with a girlfriend, and I played it with Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah. I played it twice, and I'm gonna play it a third time at some point. I'm pretty sure.
I gotta find someone to play it with. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, dude, it's good. It's good. I think it's on Game Pass now. Is it? I think it is.
Is it?
So there's no excuse.
Gaming homework time.
Shit, what is the game called again?
Takes Two.
It Takes Two.
So when you and Patrick were playing, who played which character?
I played the same character twice. So when
couldn't put on the skirt, huh?
No, I played the big guy. Yeah, I played the big guy, and he was cool. And I wanted to play her because next round, because she had some cool weapons that I wanted to try. But the second time I played was with an ex, and she wanted to play the girl too, and I was like, oh no. I was like, fine, I will have a new experience. So the next time I play, I have to play the wife. But yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Living out my dreams.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Matt? Are we done here today? Is there more to talk about?
There's probably always more to talk about, but my stomach is grumbling.
And we'll save it, man. Yeah, we need to go do a post podcast pig out.
Post podcast pig out. That's what I'm talking about.
Light up the grill. You got a grill? That sounds good. There's a burger place right across the street from where I live. That's where I usually go. Yeah, it's like one of those really greasy, like non-chain places that you have in the city. It's just so good.
Like the local version of Five Guys.
Yeah.
Oh, those big juicy burgers. Oh my god.
Oh, you're getting me excited. All right, Matt. What do you have anything you want to promote? Anything you're working on? You want to give a shout out?
I got nothing. Go get some keys.
All right.
I got
nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give away. I'll distribute some of these keys. Probably what I'll do is I'll give it to people who have been in the chat during the Twitch. So if you've been active, then look out for those. But Guild Wars 2 community chests.
Yeah, I'm just me. I'm just Matthew now. I'm not I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any crazy stuff. I'm on Twitter sometimes, but
you're MattVisual on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And the future rebirth of the YouTube, starting with the End of Dragons review, which we'll all be looking forward to.
Oh God! Don't say it too loud. People are gonna start adding me. Oh, I heard you're gonna be doing a little review, huh?
People love you, man. People love you. They miss you.
Oh yeah, they'll love me until I say, "Oh, this expansion sucks," and they were like, "Oh, damn, I never liked Matt." No, I doubt it will suck because it has fishing in it, and that's really all I need. So I'm just gonna be sitting there fishing and being on a boat, which I hope is not like classic Guild Wars 2. Hopefully, it's like you can actually move the boat. And stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. Well, Dragons 2022. All right. Well, if you don't want to promote yourself, that's fine. I'll promote myself. I'm Deeg. I do podcast conversations like these. It's called Deeg Podcast. I'm Deeg Thoughts everywhere. You can find a social thing. I love talking to gamers, ex-gamers, future gamers. people out in the world trying to figure out how to make it work. Human conversations, I really believe, are an incredibly important part of how to just be human. Thank you, Matt. This has been such
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
This has been great to actually have like a human conversation.
Yeah.
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 We're not
Yeah,
just
look,
like things that we like and stuff. We're a little bit more than that, a little bit more complex. Like I really enjoyed this, man. Thanks for inviting me.
my absolute pleasure. Thank you. And thanks everyone listening to this here live and after the fact. That'll do it for us tonight. Signing off.
Signing off.
See you folks. GG.